Chapter 794, Grand Elder, I don't have money. 6. Long Xing, who was not far away, nodded imperceptibly when he received the second elder's gaze. The second elder was immediately overjoyed when he saw this. This was really good news for him. However, why didn't Long Xing tell him earlier that the person he wanted to deal with was Long Ruoxue? It also made him happy. He complained a little in his heart, but their expressions immediately returned to normal. Long Yimin's unease deepened after hearing what the second elder of the Lan family said. Therefore, he ignored the glances exchanged between the second elder and Long Xing. Seems like Long Ruoxue should be considered the new elite of your Long family. She's so famous that even the second elder of the Lan family knows about her. Well, I have to get to know her well later, the sixth elder of the Sun family said with a light smile and a teasing tone. He was also the leading elder of the Sun family this time. Sixth elder, Long Ruoxue is just a child. She's not worth mentioning, Long Amin said helplessly. Boo-hoo. Why were these people so interested in Long Ruoxue? I'm afraid you're not an ordinary child if you're appreciated by the second elder of the Lan family. Patriarch Long, don't be humble. You should be proud that the Long family has such a junior, the sixth elder of the Sun family said with envy. Proud my ass. Long Ruoxue didn't admit that she was from the Long family at all. Long Amin couldn't help but grumble in his heart. Boo-hoo. If possible, he really didn't want Long Ruoxue to participate in the competition. However, things were no longer under his control. Alas, he hoped that nothing bad would happen. He prayed sincerely. At the same time, Long Ruoxue and the others were walking into the arena. Long Ruoxue and the others walked into the competition venue unhurriedly and swaggeringly. Then, they were led to the side of the stage by the guards. At this moment, the preparation area on the side of the stage was already full of people. However, after seeing them, everyone present revealed expressions of being unfriendly, mocking, or watching the commotion. Long Ruoxue, how dare you only come now? Long Rume glared at Long Ruoxue as if she was her enemy and questioned her fiercely. What? The competition has already begun? Long Ruoxue's beautiful face was full of question marks. The competition is about to begin, Long Rume said furiously. She originally wanted to humiliate Long Ruoxue in public before the competition began, but she didn't expect them to come so late. Damn it, there was not much time left now. It hasn't begun yet. Moreover, we're not the first to go on stage, so there's no hurry. Long Ruoxue said nonchalantly. You? Long Rume pointed at Long Ruoxue, so angry that she couldn't speak. Rume, why lower yourself to the level of a person who has never seen the world? It will lower our taste. We are the daughters of the three great superfamilies. We have to pay attention to our identities. At this moment, a woman in blue walked over and said with a face full of disdain. Fair is right. It's beneath my status to bicker with such a bumpkin, Long Rume said arrogantly. Isn't this Miss Lan Fair? Why, Lan Ninger's reputation is ruined. Is it your turn to take the throne now? Long Ruoxue looked at Lan Fair with a spurious smile and said lightly, Who are you? How do you know me? Lan Fair looked at the drop-dead gorgeous beauty in front of her and gritted her teeth in hatred. Damn it! Was it not her turn to stand up without Lan Ninger? Why did another woman more beautiful than Lan Ninger appear? Fortunately, this woman was hated by Long Rume, so she could be considered to have an ally. Thinking of this, she was even more confident. Miss Lan Fair, I'm Long Ruoxue. We met once in Blue Cloud City, Long Ruoxue reminded with a light smile. You're that ugly freak? Lan Fair was shocked. How was this possible? She really didn't associate the Long Ruoxue Long Rume mentioned with the ugly freak she had seen before. This contrast was really too big. Seems like Miss Lan Fair's memory isn't really bad. By the way, is the patriarch of the Lan family okay? Long Ruoxue asked with a smile. Okay, Lan Fair said fearfully. Boo-hoo. If she knew that the woman in front of her was the same person as that ugly freak, she definitely wouldn't have dared to say anything just now. She had a deep understanding of Long Ruoxue's terror when she was in the Lan family, so she really regretted it to death now. Boo-hoo. She didn't want anyone to save her like Lan Ninger. Suddenly, from the corner of her eye, She saw Lung Wudi and the others walking over, and she ran in Long Wudi's direction without hesitation. Young Master Long. Lon Fair ran to Long Wudi's side, panting, her beautiful face still slightly fearful. Miss Lon, what's wrong? Lung Wudi was a little puzzled. He didn't have a good impression of Lon Fair, but she was a guest. He had to pretend no matter how annoying he was. Alas, thinking of this, he realized that he really envied the lives of Long Ruoxue and the others. And nothing. Of course, Lon Fair couldn't say that she was scared by Long Ruoxue. However, this was another good opportunity to pretend to be weak. She also didn't want to give up. Lung Wudi and the others had already walked toward Long Ruoxue, and the others while she was weighing the pros and cons. She stomped her feet in anger and hurriedly followed after them. Schwer, be careful when you go on stage later. There are many geniuses from the Lon and Sun families, Lung Wudi reminded her. He knew that Lung Ruoxue had many powerful beasts, but he was not sure how strong Lung Ruoxue was now. Therefore, he was more or less a little worried. Beast pets were not allowed in this competition, so he was even more worried for Long Ruoxue and the others. Okay, we will be careful, Lung Ruoxue said with a light smile. You have to be careful. You might even die. Lung Rume gloated again. Miss Lung Rume, no one will think you're a mute even if you don't speak. Really, I promise, Lung Ruoxue said seriously. Her words also caused Fengda and the others to laugh. Even Long Wudi and the others couldn't help but laugh, and there were even more people laughing secretly. The freak looked at the stage and said to Schwer with a light smile, Yes, I saw the second elder of the Lon family too. Lung Ruoxue looked at Lon Lai and said lightly. Lon Lai's heart trembled under Long Ruoxue's seemingly casual gaze. Oh, could it be that the second elder was going to be unlucky again? Will the two of you go on stage later? Lung Ruoxue looked at Lon Lai and Sun Tung. Am not going. Me neither. The two of them said almost in unison. However, I want to fight you in private. Sun Tung stared at the freak with a fervent gaze. Don't have any designs about my man. Lung Ruoxue pretended to be displeased. Don't misunderstand. I'm not interested in him. I just want to compete with him, Sun Tung said speechlessly. Am not interested, the freak said coldly without even looking up. Freak, let's go greet the second elder of the Lon family. Lung Ruoxue smiled evilly at the freak. Okay. The freak was very cooperative. After speaking, the two of them walked to the stage together. On the main stage, the second elder of the Lon family looked at the stunning man and woman with a spurious smile in front of him, and his heart trembled. Boo-hoo. He already knew that these two people were Lung Ruoxue and her fiancé. What are you doing? The second elder of the Lon family looked at Lung Ruoxue and the freak like a little wife, his voice trembling a little. Could he go back on his word now? Could he not participate in Long Xing's plan? He didn't expect Lung Ruoxue to give him so much pressure herself. Boo-hoo. He was really scared now. Second elder of the Lon family, long time no see. We just came to greet you. Don't be scared. All right, big sister Linger misses you too. I wonder when you have time to serve it again. We will pay for it this time. Lung Ruoxue smiled very evilly, so her words actually made the others sitting beside second elder misunderstand. At this moment, everyone, including Lung Amin, looked at the second elder of the Lon family with very suggestive gazes, thinking, oh, this old man is already so old and doesn't look good, but there are actually women who like him and are even willing to spend money for him in an unforgettable manner. It's really enviable, jealous, and hateful. I don't have time. I'm very busy. The second elder of the Lon family wanted to cry but had no tears. He could also feel the gazes of others, but he could say that the big sister Linger Lung Ruoxue was talking about was a bird. Could he say that she just wanted him to give her a foot massage? Boo-hoo. Wouldn't that be even more embarrassing for him? Most importantly, probably no one would believe her. It's okay. We can wait. Alas, Big Sister Linger said that you're skilled and can't forget you. I can't do anything either. Lung Ruoxue continued to add oil to the fire. Good technique? Lung Amin and the others immediately understood when they heard that. So this old man Zao was skillful. Well, No wonder. Chapter 796. Infernal Affairs 2. You what? Lung Ruashua asked the advisor. I don't have time in the future, so let it find someone else, the Lon family's second elder said with a long face. You're so busy. It's okay. They'll find the Lon family head personally when I have time and ask him to give you a break. A talent with special skills like you can't be exhausted, Lung Ruashua said without thinking. Patriarch doesn't have time either. Patriarch is in seclusion, second elder Lon said hurriedly. In seclusion? It's okay. They'll look for the Lon family's first elder. Don't tell me he's in seclusion too. Lung Ruaksha's beautiful eyes stared at the Lon family's second elder doubtfully. He didn't enter seclusion, but he's not in the Lon family now. He went out to train. I don't know when he will return, the second elder of the Lon family said after some thought. Boo-hoo. He wanted to say that the first elder of the Lon family was in seclusion, but he knew that this little demon would definitely not believe him. Oh, who's in charge of the Lon family now? Lung Ruashua asked with some amusement. Elder Group. The important affairs of the Lon family are now decided by the Elder Group for the time being, second elder quickly said. He really admired himself to death. He didn't believe that this little demon could look for the elders of the Lon family one by one. The elders? Seems like there's nothing wrong with the Lon family. Lung Ruashua said with a smile. Coincidentally, Long Woody and the others walked over again. What do you mean? Lon Lai's face was full of question marks. It's okay. It's okay. The second elder of the Lon family interrupted. Cold sweat rolled down his forehead. Young Master Lon, I heard that the current Lon family is decided by the elders? Lung Ruaksha's beautiful face was full of curiosity. How is that possible? That old man is alive and well. Lon Lai said irritably. But I heard from second elder Lon that Lung Ruashua deliberately only said half a sentence. Then she raised her beautiful eyes and looked at the second elder of the Lon family. Miss Long, they'll look for you when I have time, the second elder of the Lon family promised. Okay, tonight then. They'll get Big Sister Linger to wait for you in the Snowfall Garden. Lung Ruashua smiled suggestively and left the stage with the freak after speaking. Second elder Lon, congratulations. Lung Amin and the others congratulated the second elder of the Lon family politely as soon as Lung Ruashua left. Some of them were even scheming in their hearts, not knowing when they would be able to attend the second elder's wedding. After all, it was only a matter of time before the girl couldn't forget him. Thank you. The second elder of the Lon family had a long face. He braced himself and accepted the congratulations of everyone present, but he was so depressed that he wanted to bang his head against the wall. Boo-hoo. Is there any good news, second elder? The question marks on Lon Lai's face increased. Hee. Young Master Lon, your second elder is about to bloom, and it's the blooming of an old tree. Your Lon family will have a happy occasion soon. An elder from the Long family interrupted. Oh, congratulations, second elder. Lon Lai congratulated him according to customs even though he was a little lost. In fact, he knew very well that it was impossible for the second elder to have a happy occasion when it involved Lung Ruashua. Alas, it was good enough not to hold a funeral. Young master. The second elder of the Lon family looked at Lon Lai resentfully, wanting to cry but had no tears. There's no need to explain. I understand, Lon Lai said sympathetically. However, he couldn't help the second elder. Alas, second elder, your life can still be saved as long as you do as Lung Ruashua says obediently. He signaled the second elder with his eyes. The second elder of the Lon family nodded understandingly. Boo-hoo. He couldn't be blamed for being useless. The impression Lung Ruashua gave him was really too deep. However, it had been so long, and he thought that he had forgotten. However, he only knew that not only did he not forget after seeing Lung Ruashua, but his fear for Lung Ruashua and the others had already seeped into his bones. What should he do? He was so conflicted. The second elder of the Lon family had been struggling on the stage, and the competition began on time. After the competition began, the participants went on stage one by one in the order they had drawn beforehand. Lung Ruashua and the others sat by the stage without interest, eating and chatting. Miss, the level of this competition is too low. It's really too boring. Lu Tao ate her snacks and glanced at the two sides fighting furiously on the stage, saying disdainfully, Her horizons were becoming wider and wider as she advanced to Mystic Empress. She couldn't care less about such a level of competition, but she had to participate again. She was really too helpless. Don't look if you don't like it. They compete with them. Well, eat ours, Lung Ruoxue said nonchalantly. However, their casualness displeased many of the participants. Referee, everyone is competing, but they are eating and drinking here. How can we compete? A disciple of the Sun family accused, very displeased. That's right, this is too much. This is simply desecrating the competition. Referee, on behalf of all the participants, I strongly request that they be disqualified from the competition. After someone stood up, someone began to echo. Lung Rume looked at Lung Ruoxue proudly and pleaded impartially, Referee, eating in the competition venue is indeed inappropriate. However, on the account that they are first offenders, give them another chance. All right. On the account that Miss Rume pleaded for you, they'll warn you once. You're not allowed to eat anymore, the referee said loudly. To be honest, he really didn't want to care about this matter. However, it had already aroused public anger, so he couldn't pretend not to see it. Boo-hoo. He was in a very difficult position. Unfortunately, Lung Ruoxue and the others didn't seem to hear the referee and continued doing what they were doing. Don't say that the grapes are sour just because you can't eat them. You can also eat them if you want to see us eat them, Feng De said nonchalantly. He even took out firewood from his ring to grill the meat. The referee was so angry that he couldn't say anything when he saw this situation. He simply walked to the other side of the field. Anyway, he was not the only referee in the competition. He should leave this matter to others to have a headache. Feng De and the others grilled the meat as if no one was around when they saw the referee leave. Everyone present could only stare angrily. Chapter 797. Infernal Affairs 3. Your behavior is really too much. How can you treat such an important competition as child's play? Lung Rume accused them with some disappointment. Miss Lung Rume, we're not familiar with you, Lung Ruoxue said with some amusement. She really didn't know why Lung Rume pretended to be the head of the family. You really don't know what's good for you, Lung Rume said angrily, and then turned to leave angrily. Miss, is Lung Rume mentally abnormal? Lu Tao asked in puzzlement. What do you mean? Lung Ruoxue was curious. Sometimes she treats us as her enemies, and sometimes she seems to treat us as the Long family. She always wants to control us so that she can show her identity as the eldest daughter of the Long family, Lu Tao said after some thought. Okay, just treat her as mentally abnormal. Don't worry about her. Lung Ruoxue said with a light smile. Yes, Mississippi. It's my turn. Lu Tao walked directly to the stage. Lung Ruoxue and the others turned their gazes to the stage after seeing Lu Tao go on stage. Lu Tao's opponent was from the Sun family, and it was a mystic monarch. Beauty, I will let you go if you are willing to admit defeat. Moreover, I promise I will love you well and make you want to die. On the stage, a greasy-haired and pink-faced young man was looking at Lu Tao wretchedly, his lecherous eyes still patrolling the important parts of Lu Tao's body. Whose master are you? They'll castrate you if you spout nonsense. Lu Tao said furiously. Damn it, how dare you tease me? At this moment, the man opposite her was already a dead man in her eyes. Lu Tao, castrate him. Feng De roared furiously from below the stage. Damn, how dare he tease his woman? This brat from the Sun family really didn't want to live anymore. Lu Tao and Feng De's words made many of the people present break out in cold sweat, because these words were really too valiant. A great mystic actually said that he wanted to castrate a mystic monarch. Wasn't this a joke? However, no one dared to treat the subsequent scene as a joke. That was because Lu Tao, who was on the stage, unceremoniously released a ray of light blue mystic energy at the man opposite her after receiving Feng De's encouragement, and her target was the most important part of the man's body. Immediately, there was a scream of pain, and the man on the stage covered the main part of the stage with his hand, and fell onto the stage with a cry of pain. Lu Tao's set of actions was really too fast, and many people had already achieved the truth before they could react. Referee, is the competition still continuing? Lu Tao looked disdainfully at the man lying on the stage and asked the referee, whose face was a little pale. No, there's no need to compete, the referee stammered. Boo-hoo. What was there to compete? This woman was really too ruthless. She actually really castrated him when she said castrate. This person was from the Sun family. What should he do? I should have one, right? Lu Tao asked uncertainly. Yes, you won. The referee was a little conflicted, but he didn't dare to offend this terrifying woman in front of him. He wouldn't be able to cry if she killed him in a fit of anger. It was really too terrifying. He had lingering fears. Soon, someone from the Sun family, who had become a eunuch, was carried down. The sixth elder of the Sun family, who saw this scene on the stage, almost fainted. On the main stage, Patriarch Long, your Long family is too ruthless. Shouldn't you give our Sun family an explanation? The sixth elder of the Sun family questioned angrily with a black face. Long Amin was very depressed. In fact, he really wanted to say that they asked for it, but he really couldn't say it because of the relationship between the two parties. Sixth elder, calm down. In fact, this isn't a big deal. It's just that it broke. It can still be connected if you take the pill in time, so you don't have to be angry over such a small matter. Injuries are unavoidable on the competition stage. The third elder of the Long family laughed as a mediator and comforted. Yes, sixth elder, this isn't a big deal. Moreover, there's a reason for it. The young lady won't be angry if your Sun family's disciple didn't spout nonsense. Moreover, that thing can be reattached. It won't affect your daily life. The fifth elder of the Long family, who was wearing the same pants as third elder, hurriedly echoed. You. The sixth elder was a little speechless. Repeat. It was easy to say. Even if it was reattached, it would not be original, and some functions would not be there, and it would be no different from a cripple. Thinking of this, he was so angry. However, even though he was angry, he also knew whose territory this was, so he did not dare to be too presumptuous. Sixth elder, your Sun family is going against Long Ruox's subordinates again. The second elder of the Lan family couldn't help reminding. Boo-hoo. Demon. That woman's subordinates were also a group of demons. They were really too terrifying. Oh. The sixth elder of the Sun family hurriedly turned his gaze to the stage when he heard that, and his nervous heart was about to jump out. Boo-hoo. Don't let something like this happen again because Long Ruox's side had another woman on the stage. On the stage, Cui Zhu looked at her opponent with some disgust, her clear eyes still full of contempt. She said impatiently, Let's begin quickly. Don't delay my barbecue. You stinky girl, don't worry. I will definitely teach you a lesson, another unlucky person from the Sun family said arrogantly. He wanted to avenge his brother. Okay, then hurry up. Cui Zhu urged anxiously. Boo-hoo. Her grilled meat. It would be eaten up by those big stomachs later. Stinky girl, take this. The unlucky person from the Sun family took the lead to attack. Cui Zhu on the stage calmly released a water curtain in front of him and then launched a huge meteor shower. In an instant, countless light blue rain swords attacked his opponent. With a scream, the unlucky person from the Sun family also covered an important part of his body and fell onto the stage. Seeing this scene, almost everyone's hearts jumped crazily on the field except for Long Ruoxue and the others. Bean-sized sweat dripped down the foreheads of many male compatriots. Chapter 798. Infernal Affairs 4. 5 minutes passed, and the Sun family who had collapsed on the stage didn't react. The referee walked forward stiffly and took a look. Well, fortunately, he was still breathing. Cui Zhu wins, the referee announced loudly after confirming. Miss, I won. Cui Zhu ran off the stage like a little bird happily and then picked up the surviving grilled meat to eat in big mouthfuls. Yes, well done, Long Ruoxue praised. Cui Zhu seemed to have grown a lot. Miss, we still have 3 rounds of competition today. Then we can go back and rest. Feng De looked at the schedule and said, Okay, Let's end this quickly. The second elder of the Lan family still wants to come tonight. Lung Ruoxue reminded with a light smile. Feng De and the others stole a glance at the frowning second elder of the Lan family on the main stage, their hearts full of infinite sympathy for him. Alas, poor fellow was targeted by their young miss again. As time passed, the competition continued in full swing. Lung Ruoxue's side quickly finished all the competitions today and won in seconds. Lung Ruoxue and the others left the arena directly and returned to the Snowfall Garden after today's competition ended. Lung Shuang, whom he had not seen for a few days, came knocking on his door not long after he returned to the Snowfall Garden. Sister, I heard that your people will show off their might today. Lung Shuang sat opposite Lung Ruoxue in the garden and said happily. Fortunately, it's mainly because those people are too weak, Lung Ruoxue said nonchalantly. Too weak? Lung Shuang was a little speechless. She thought, your opponents look stronger than you. Big sister, haven't you been busy these few days? Why are you free to come today? Lung Ruoxue changed the topic. Sister, I heard that your two maidservants castrated the Sun family. I was worried, so I hurriedly came to remind you, Lung Shuang said helplessly. Big sister, don't worry. I know what to do, Lung Ruoxue said gratefully. That's good. The Sun family is despicable, so you have to be careful. However, I believe that the Sun family won't dare to do anything to you as long as you don't leave Proud Cold City, Lung Shuang said after some thought. Okay, they'll be careful, Lung Ruoxue said. Sister, I've said what I wanted to say. They'll go back first. They'll visit you after I'm done for the next few days. Lung Shuang stood up and left. Lung Ruoxue returned to the garden after sending Lung Shuang out of the Snowfall Garden. After dinner, everyone sat in the garden and admired the beautiful moonlight while waiting for the second elder of the Lan family. However, the old man still didn't come late at night. Miss, could that old man be scared? It's already so late, and he's not here yet. He probably won't come, Zheng Yin complained. Damn it, how dare he stand his young miss up? He wouldn't let that old man go. Calm down, he will come. He won't dare not to come. Lung Ruoxue was very sure. Sure enough, not long after Lung Ruoxue finished speaking, the second elder of the Lan family came to the Snowfall Garden sneakily. After seeing Lung Ruoxue and the others, the second elder was so nervous that his entire body was trembling. Lung Ruoxue, I'm here. What do you want? The second elder of the Lan family mustered his courage and asked softly with a trembling voice. The expression on his face was as if he was about to be. Second elder, don't be scared. We're old acquaintances. I won't bully you. Lung Ruoxue comforted with a light smile. Well, she really didn't understand why this second elder was so afraid of her. The second elder of the Lan family looked at Lung Ruoxue with a long face, his heart racing. You bullied me a lot. Boo-hoo. He had already thought about not participating in Long Xing's plan because he really didn't think Long Xing would win. Alas, this was a decision he had thought for several hours. The two disciples who had been castrated from the Sun family also helped him confirm his stand. After all, he didn't want the disciples of the Lan family to become useless too. Therefore, he would not cooperate with whoever wanted to cooperate. Lung Ruoxue, I'll tell you Long Xing's plan. Can you let me go? The second elder of the Lan family pleaded with a bitter face. Second elder is very sensible. However, you can tell me first. I won't pursue your mistake if it's valuable. Lung Ruoxue smiled like a little fox. All right. The second elder of the Lan family had no choice but to tell Long Xing's plan in detail to Lung Ruoxue. After speaking, he even looked at Lung Ruoxue carefully. His gaze was like a puppy wagging its tail pitifully. Very pitiful. That's all. Lung Ruoxue asked with dissatisfaction because this plan was really too childish. Alas, how could Long Xing think of such a lousy plan after living for so long? It was really too disappointing. Yes, the sixth elder of the Sun family and I were both present at that time. However, I don't know if he sought out the sixth elder in private, the second elder of the Lan family said honestly. In fact, to be honest, Long Xing's plan might be very effective against others. Unfortunately, the person he wanted to deal with was Lung Ruoxue. Boo-hoo. He didn't dare to imagine the consequences of the people who participated in this plan, so it was not too late to hope that he would surrender. Oh, second elder, I'm very disappointed in your plan. Tell me, what should we do? Long Ruoxue said with seeming distress. Miss Long, please don't count me in. I'll apologize to you for what happened previously. I won't participate in the rest, okay? The second elder of the Long family pleaded. Boo-hoo. He really regretted coming to the Long family. If he had known that this little demon was in the Long family and gave him so much pressure, he wouldn't have come even if he said he would die. Chapter 799. Infernal Affairs 5. Miss Long. I'm afraid Long Xing doesn't believe me anymore, the second elder of the Long family said aggrievedly. Long Xing's gaze at him had become abnormal since Long Ruoxue said those misunderstood words in front of the stage. He will believe you more if you tell him what happened between us, Long Ruoxue said understandingly. No, I can't tell you. It's really too embarrassing. The second elder of the Long family's face flushed red. Boo-hoo. How could he survive in the 3 great super families in the future if news of this spread? Then think of a way yourself. Anyway, you have to continue colluding with them. Long Ruoxue reminded, her words full of threat. Then, all right then. The second elder of the Long family was very helpless. Boo-hoo. He was on a pirate ship. Moreover, they were from 2 families, so he couldn't get off even if he wanted to. Second elder Long, it's getting late. Rest early. Long Ruoxue ordered him to leave after the discussion, and she dragged the freak back to her room. The next day, the competition continued. The second elder of the Long family only came to the main stage after the competition began. However, he felt countless suggestive gazes sweeping over him before he sat down. I'm sorry. I woke up late today, the second elder of the Long family explained gloomily. It's okay. We understand. Oh, second elder is really strong despite his age. I'm envious. Second elder, it must have been tough yesterday. Second elder, we cultivators should still focus on cultivation. Everything else is fleeting. The second elder of the Long family was even more depressed as he listened to everyone's words. He didn't expect his explanation to actually attract countless guesses. Among them were understanding, jealous, envious, reminded, comforted. Damn, what was going on? He really wanted to knock into tofu. However, everyone present was of equal status to him, so he couldn't vent his anger on them even if he was angry. Second elder, beauty is a hindrance. You have to be careful not to fall for my honey trap, Long Xing, who had been silent, reminded eccentrically, his eyes full of warning. Senior Long, you're mistaken. I'll explain it to you when I have time. The second elder of the Long family smiled bitterly and approached Long Xing and said softly, Okay. Long Xing nodded. Then he stopped talking and turned his gaze to the stage. He didn't know how Long Ruoxue and the others would perform in today's competition. However, this was only the beginning, so don't worry. The show was still coming. On the second day of the competition, Long Ruoxue and the others all went on stage. However, the result of the competition was still the same as the previous day. All of them were instantly killed. On the third day, the fourth day, it was still the same. On the 5th day of the competition, only 50 people were left on the field. Long Ruoxue and the others occupied 20 spots among these 50 people, and the other 30 spots were divided equally among the other 3 families. The 3 families each sent out 50 disciples for this competition. After the 4-day preliminaries, the Long family and the Sun family were almost wiped out except for the Long family. The disciples who stayed on the field were not very strong, and this situation did not prevent the Sun family's 6th elder and Long Xing from burning with anger. As for the second elder of the Long family, he was well aware of the result. After all, he had long known the result. At this moment, he couldn't help but be a little glad that he had surrendered long ago. Otherwise, the disciples of the Long family would probably be like the Sun family. It was a tragic sight. Even though there were many injuries on the bodies of the Long family disciples, which looked quite terrifying, he knew that those were only superficial wounds, while the people from the Sun family were genuine injuries. At this moment, Long Xing knew very well that it was probably impossible to fight alone. Therefore, once the three families studied it, they changed the rules of the competition, changing from one-on-one battles to a group chaotic battle. Therefore, the fifth day of the competition was a chaotic battle. Long Ruoxue smiled happily after hearing this news because the competition was about to end in her eyes. The fifth day of the competition finally began with Long Ruoxue and the others' anticipation. In the competition venue, Long Ruoxue and the others deliberately sat quietly and thoughtfully by the side of the stage after hearing the new rules announced by the referee. What a pity. I didn't expect the rules of the competition to change. Long Rume walked to Long Ruoxue and the others with a face full of pity and gloated. Unfortunately, Long Ruoxue and the others ignored her. Long Rume left angrily after finding trouble with herself. Miss, I really don't understand why she's so happy. Lu Tao looked at Long Rume leaving in puzzlement. Haha, she thinks she can finally deal with us. Long Ruoxue said in realization. Well, hopefully, today's competition could all end. She didn't want to participate in such a childish competition for another day. Oh, no wonder, Lu Tao said in realization, but she felt pity for Long Rume and the others. Everyone, be alert when you go on stage later, Long Ruoxue reminded. The stage today was several times larger than before, specially prepared for the chaotic battle. There would be more situations if the stage was larger, and there were more people competing. Accidents might happen at any time. So there would probably be many things today. After a while, Long Ruoxue and the others had already stood on the stage. The competition officially began with the referee's whistle. According to the rules of today's competition, 20 people should be eliminated. However, with Long Ruoxue and the others' disgust for the competition, it was naturally impossible to let this boring competition continue. Therefore, they wanted to take advantage of today to get rid of all the disciples of the three major families who were participating in the competition at once. Long Ruoxue and the others stood on the stage. No one attacked first, only observing each other. Not only that, the two sides were divided into two camps. Long Ruoxue and the others stood together, and the other 30 people stood on the other side of the stage. Referee, does one lose the right to continue competing if they are off the stage? Long Ruoxue suddenly asked. Chapter 800. First Encounter with the Old Ancestor. 1. Yes. The referee nodded. For some reason, he actually felt his body turn cold when Long Ruoxue asked him this. There was even a bad premonition flowing through his heart. Boo-hoo. What was going on? Long Ruoxue and the others had really surprised them too much in the competition these few days, so he was under a lot of pressure. That's good. Long Ruoxue was relieved. Hey, why didn't anyone attack? I'm going to attack if you don't attack first. Fengde looked at the disciples of the three great families who were looking at them cautiously and shouted impatiently. Haha, Fengde. They're waiting for time. I think we should attack first. Long Ruoxue said with some amusement. The competition had a total of 2 hours. Don't tell me these people thought that they could kick us out of the competition by attacking at the last moment? Miss, looks like that's the only way. Fengde and the others were very helpless. After speaking, they surrounded the 30 people on the other side of the stage. Long Rume looked at Fengde and the others with contempt, thinking, do you think you will be so lucky today? You are dead meat today. However, her wishful thinking did not last long before Fengde and the others attacked. They each found an opponent and first punched and kicked very violently. Then, their mystic energy kept smashing onto their opponents like it was free. In a few minutes, their opponents, who were unable to fight back, were covered in wounds and vomited blood on the stage. The injuries of the Sun family were especially serious among them, and Fengde and the others kicked them off the stage without any pity for the fairer sex. They had dealt with 18 people on their first move. There were only 2 people left from the elimination quota for today's competition, and they were not beaten to the other 12 people. Everyone, including Long Rume, was a little jumpy and stared at Fengde and the others very cautiously. Fengde, there are still 2 spots. Long Ruoxue looked at her opponents who were not too tough and said disdainfully. Long Ruoxue, don't be too smug. You will definitely be taught a lesson. Long Rume roared recklessly. Humph. She had a secret weapon. She didn't believe that she couldn't deal with Long Ruashue. Fonda, let's continue since Miss Long Rume strongly requests it. Long Ruashue looked at Long Rume and said calmly to Fonda, okay. Fonda and the others rushed toward the other 11 people after speaking, leaving Long Rume to her young miss to deal with. The other 11 people were beaten down by Fonda and the others with a few punches. However, they did not kick these dozen people off the stage because they were waiting for Miss Action. Long Rume, you're the only one standing on the stage now except for my subordinates. Haven't you always wanted to kill me? They'll give you a chance today, Long Ruashue said with a light smile. Long Ruashue, don't be too smug too early. There are only 2 spots to be eliminated today, so it won't be my turn no matter what, Long Rume said confidently. In fact, she was so angry in her heart because she originally wanted to kill Long Ruashue, secretly while the crowd was in a chaotic battle. Unfortunately, all her plans were destroyed by Long Ruashue, and she was the only one standing on her side now, so she was so angry that she was about to explode. Is that so? Then let's wait and see. Long Ruashue said with a light smile. Then she gently released a stream of water attribute mystic energy as if she was playing with it, shooting it at Long Rume. Long Rume looked at the mystic energy flying toward her with contempt and thought to herself, humph, do you want to deal with me with that little bit of mystic energy? You really overestimate your capabilities. She gently used the earthen yellow curtain wall to block the mystic energy. Miss Long Rume is so powerful. Long Ruashue smiled evilly and said ingratiatingly. Then, like Chuizhu, she launched a meteor shower. Immediately, small light blue raindrops flew toward Long Rume and quickly penetrated her curtain wall and attacked her body. In the blink of an eye, her clothes were wet by the rain, and her hot and sexy figure was revealed. Damn it, what skill is this? Long Rume endured the needle-like pain on her body and questioned loudly. Meteor rain. Miss Long Rume's figure is really good. Everyone can have a feast for the eyes. Long Ruashue smiled suggestively. Who wants to see her? The freak's voice sounded at the right time. That's right. Fonda and the others echoed cooperatively. Damn it. You. Long Ruashue, I won't let you go. Long Rume endured the pain in her body and took out a saber from her ring. The cold light on the saber was terrifying. The audience couldn't help exclaiming when this saber was out. Wow, this saber is actually a sacred artifact. Yes, this saber seems to belong to an old ancestor of the Long family. Why is it in Miss Long Rume's hand now? Long Ruashue is going to be in trouble this time. Everyone in the audience discussed spiritedly. Some sighed, some were envious, and some were sympathetic to Long Ruashue. In short, everyone's reactions were different. Of course, some secretly despised Long Rume in their hearts. After all, sacred artifacts were not as common as cabbages in this world, and powerhouses below mystic supremacy had to pay a huge price to possess a sacred artifact. In the VIP seats, Long Amin looked at the saber in Rumai's hand and was shocked. Then he looked at Long Xing and couldn't help asking, Old ancestor, that saber. I lent it to Rumei. Long Xing said calmly. Old ancestor, this is only a competition within the clan. I'm afraid it's inappropriate for you to lend the holy artifact to Miss Rumei. The third elder of the Long family couldn't help but scold. Alas, this Long Xing was really too much. Wasn't it obvious that he wanted to get rid of Long Ruashue? Thinking of this, a chill rose in his heart. Not only is it inappropriate, but it's also completely unfair, the fifth elder of the Long family said bluntly. Among the younger generation of the Long family, even the young master had not been bestowed with a sacred artifact. Moreover, not only did the young master not have one, but these elders also did not have a sacred artifact in their hands. This was because the family's sacred artifact was stored in the armory. They were not allowed to use it unless something major happened. They were afraid that the Long family would kill each other. However, they did not expect Long Xing to actually use a sacred artifact to kill a junior for his own selfish reasons. Such behavior was really too embarrassing. Chapter 801. First Encounter with the Old Ancestor. 2. There's no absolute fairness in competition. Rume borrowed my weapon because she's smart. If Long Ruoxue is smart enough, she can also borrow it from the family. Long Xing said disapprovingly, and his tone obviously gloating. However, when he saw the book-like sword that appeared in Long Ruoxue's hand on the stage and emitted coldness, he couldn't be smug anymore because that sword should also be a sacred artifact. Moreover, its level was obviously higher than the saber he lent Rume. After all, sacred artifacts were also divided into levels. On the stage, Long Ruoxue looked at the sword in her hand and revealed a smile that could topple cities. She had refined this sword ever since she came to the boundless heaven continent. However, it had always been stored in her body and had yet to be used. Moreover, she used the special refining technique taught to her by her master to refine this sword. It could be considered her intrinsic weapon. Moreover, it would advance along with her level. Well, she didn't know what level this sword could reach now. She was very expectant. Today, she would use Long Rume to test the sword, even though she felt that she had let down her sword a little. The sword seemed to have a mind of its own. After sensing its master's thoughts, it happily let out a buzzing sound. The humming sound carried a bloodthirsty ruthlessness, causing people with low cultivation levels to suffer varying degrees of internal injuries. Haha, they'll call you Cold Shadow from now on. Long Ruoxue looked at the sword's reaction in surprise and said happily, "Boo-hoo." The sword trembled gently as if it was very happy that it had a name. Long Rume, let's determine if your saber is stronger or my sword is sharper. Long Ruoxue said calmly to Long Rume, whose face was a little pale. Long Ruoxue, you will definitely regret it. Long Rume swallowed the blood that surged to her throat and said fiercely, "Humph." She definitely wouldn't lose, and she couldn't lose. In this battle, she had to step on Long Ruoxue under her feet. She was just a great mystic cultivator. What right did she have to strut around in front of her? Yes, I'm waiting to see how he'll regret it. Long Ruoxue's beautiful face was full of anticipation. It was absolutely infuriating. Long Ruoxue, you're courting death. Long Rume roared and slashed at Long Ruoxue with her saber. Long Ruoxue turned her wrist unhurriedly, and the sword light in her hand flew towards Long Rume from all directions. Long Rume's sword light was completely shattered in the sword shadows, and countless sword lights directly hit her body. Long Rume spat out a mouthful of blood and fell directly on the stage, fainting. Long Ruoxue looked at Long Rume lying on the stage with slight dissatisfaction and complained, "Her body is too weak." I haven't even used my mystic technique yet. Long Ruoxue's words made everyone in the audience very speechless. However, they had to admit that these two people were indeed on a different level. Alas, a mighty mystic monarch was actually defeated by a great mystic. It was really embarrassing. The referee in the corner of the stage was very helpless. However, he also knew that today's competition would probably not be able to clean up the aftermath. He received the patriarch's gaze and was about to announce that today's competition was over. However, Fengde and the others kicked the fainted disciples of the three great families off the stage one step in advance. This scene couldn't help making the referee a little dumbfounded. However, what made him even more crazy was still behind because Fengde and the others immediately announced their forfeiture of the competition after that and automatically jumped off the stage. The referee was stunned for a few minutes before he returned to his senses. Looking at the stunning man and woman standing proudly on the stage, he had to admit that they were really a pair of lookers. Even their Long family's current young master had no choice but to admit defeat in front of these two's peerless elegance. Alas, it was really infuriating to compare oneself to others. They obviously only had the strength of a great mystic, but why were these people so awesome? He couldn't understand no matter how hard he thought. There are only the two of you in the entire competition now, so tomorrow. The referee braced himself and said his decision. However, he was interrupted by the freak before he could finish. I forfeit too. the freak said with a naughty smile. The referee was in a mess after hearing what the freak said. Looks like the competition can end. That's good, Lung Ruashua said happily. Then, she pulled the freak off the stage as if no one was around. After that, Lung Ruashua and the others left the competition venue majestically with Fonda and the others escorting them. Everyone sat happily in the garden, drinking tea and chatting after returning to the snowfall garden. Schwer, why don't you just kill Lung Rume? That woman really wants to kill you, Lung Ruhan said worriedly. Lung Rume was still alive and would probably find a way to cause trouble for them. Big brother, for some people, living is more painful than death. Lung Rume might not be dead, but she won't be able to achieve anything great, Lung Ruashua said lightly. Her sword beams had long shattered the veins in Lung Rumai's body. Therefore, from now on, she was no different from a cripple. She might even be worse than a cripple. From today onwards, we have to be wary of Long Xing, not Lung Rume, Lung Ruashua reminded again. Alas, Long Xing's plan had failed. Who knew what tricks he would come up with again? Well, she was in a good mood recently, so she would play with him. Miss, don't worry. We will be alert, Fonda and the others promised. Okay, everyone should rest early after dinner today. Lung Ruashua looked at everyone and said. Everyone nodded and then went to prepare dinner. After dinner, Lung Ruashua and the freak welcomed an uninvited guest just as they returned to their room. To be precise, it was an uninvited stranger. Lung Ruashua raised her beautiful eyes slightly and sized up the handsome man who suddenly appeared in her room. This man looked to be in his early 30s, and his entire body was suffused with a chill. Even though his appearance was very handsome, the ice on his body could make people feel fear from the bottom of their hearts. Moreover, this man's strength was unfathomable. The man was sizing her up while she did the same. Well, this little girl was not bad. It was really rare for someone so young to be so calm and collected in front of a stranger. He had already observed Lung Ruashua for many days, even though it was their first time meeting. Therefore, her calm reaction was within his expectations. Chapter 802. First Encounter with the Old Ancestor. 3. For a while, they just looked at each other. Neither of them spoke first. After a long time, the man surrendered. Boo-hoo. That was because he gloomily discovered that this little girl's mental quality was above his. Why wasn't this little child curious about him at all? He couldn't understand. The man beside her was the same. The two of them acted as if he didn't exist. After looking at him for a while, they calmly drank their tea. They didn't even invite him for a drink. It was really too rude, he complained in his heart. Little child, why aren't you curious or even ask who I am? The man couldn't help asking. His handsome face was still full of bitterness, forming a sharp contrast with the coldness on his body. What's there to ask? You'll tell me if you want to, Lung Ruashua said lightly. In fact, she had already guessed this man's identity. Well, this should be the person who wanted to see her. Moreover, this man's strength was absolutely above that Grand Elder. I'm Lung Xiaoyu. The Long family of the Lingfeng continent is the bloodline I left behind. The man sighed and said helplessly, Alas, Qin Yu was right. This girl was indeed difficult to deal with. Oh, so you're the rumored improper member of the Long family. Lung Ruashua said in realization. Little child, am your old ancestor. Lung Xiaoyu couldn't help but remind her. Boo-hoo. How could this girl not give him face? So what? I have only inherited a bit of your bloodline. Apart from that, what did you do for us? The Long family of the Lingfeng continent has long declined. If it weren't for my grandfather, I'm afraid the Long family would have no place in the Lingfeng continent. And after we returned to the family, what did these so-called Long family members do to us? Someone wanted to kill us, to make my grandfather and me servants. They even colluded with the other two great families to kill us in the competition. If we didn't work hard, you, so-called old ancestor, would probably be seeing our corpses now. Long Ruaksha's voice was filled with coldness, her beautiful eyes full of accusation. Little Schwer, others might not know your true strength, but I know very well that those people can't do anything to you at all. Moreover, do whatever you want to do. I'm not stopping you, Long Xiaoyu said with slight grievance, even pretending to be pitiful. You said it yourself. Long Ruoxue confirmed. Well, this old ancestor was quite sensible, maybe she could give him a chance to perform. Yes. However, don't kill too many. Otherwise, won't the other two super families benefit? Long Xiaoyu reminded. No, it'll exterminate the Sun family at most. Long Ruoxue understood what her old ancestor meant. If the Long family lost too many people at once, the three super families would probably be in an imbalance. And if this change happened, the Long family, which was originally the strongest, would probably be ranked last. Exterminate the Sun family? Little Schwer, what arrogance. I don't even dare to say that I can definitely destroy the Sun family. Lung Xiaoyu rolled his eyes and said speechlessly, well, truly, youth knows no fear. Which one of those who could become a super family didn't have deep foundations and inheritances that were more than 10,000 years old? How could they be destroyed just like that? You've tried? Lung Ruoxue asked in surprise. No, but we fought a few times. At that time, the Sun family was still at its strongest. I fought a member of the Sun family to a draw, Lung Xiaoyu explained. How do you know that I can't destroy them if you haven't tried? Even if I can't destroy it now, I'll make the Sun family disappear in the entire universe no matter which world I'm in the future. Lung Ruoxue said with an imposing manner because she knew that the Sun family wouldn't let her go even if she didn't cause trouble for the Sun family. Moreover, the Sun family seemed to have a lecherous old ancestor, so she had to make preparations early. Good. Ambitious, The old ancestor supports you. Lung Xiaoyu said with satisfaction. This was his descendant. As a member of the Long family, he had to be unyielding. Moreover, his love for Long Ruoxue had risen to a new level in such a short time. After all, anyone would be wild with joy to have such a junior. Moreover, Long Ruoxue indeed had limitless potential, which was one of the reasons why he valued Long Ruoxue more. Cheap sake old ancestor, don't just say it. My next step is to get rid of the Long family's stumbling block. Long Ruoxue smiled evilly and reminded. Well, she didn't want the Long family to hold her back when she was dealing with the Sun family. At least they were a little related, so she naturally couldn't uproot the Long family like she did with the Sun family. Yes. Do whatever you want. I'm here. Lung Xiaoyu promised. That's good. Cheap sake old ancestor. It's getting late and we want to rest. Don't you think you can go now? Lung Ruoxue said very implicitly. After obtaining the permission of this cheap sake old ancestor, she started to chase him away. Little child, you can't be so realistic. You want to chase me away after achieving your goal. That won't do. My goal isn't over yet. Moreover, you're not allowed to call me cheap sake old ancestor. Lung Xiaoyu glared and pretended to be displeased. Then what else do you want? Lung Ruoxue said speechlessly. Well, as expected of their Lingfeng continent's old ancestor, he was indeed very similar to her. One would not visit unless they had something to ask. I want to see your sword, Lung Xiaoyu said shamelessly. In fact, this was the main reason why he came late at night. If it weren't for the sword that the little child took out today that tempted him, he would probably still be cowardly and not dare to show himself. Oh. Long Ruoxue willed the cold shadow to appear in her hand. Can I hold it? Long Xiaoyu asked expectantly. He knew that his request was a little inappropriate. After all, a weapon that had already recognized its master shouldn't be borrowed. However, he was really too curious because this sword had given him too much shock. He couldn't say why. In short, the moment he saw this sword, the artificer factor in his body boiled. Sure. Long Ruoxue handed over the sword in her hand. Long Xiaoyu looked at the sword in his hand and praised it. After looking at it carefully, he returned it to Long Ruoxue with a face full of reluctance. Then he couldn't help asking, who refined this sword? Chapter 803. First Encounter with the Old Ancestor. 4. It's me. Long Ruoxue didn't hide it. You. I didn't expect you to be a famous artifact master. Very good. Let's discuss the insights of refining artifacts if we have the chance. Long Xiaoyu said in surprise. Hee. This descendant really surprised him more and more. I rarely refine weapons and don't have much experience, Long Ruoxue said helplessly. She refined more pills, and with the disheveled old man around, she rarely refined weapons. Little Schwer, don't be modest. Your sword has clearly reached the quality of a heavenly artifact. Even though it can only be considered an elementary heavenly artifact, it seems like there's still quite a lot of room for growth. Moreover, do you know the greatest wish of an artificer? Long Xiaoyu said with some jealousy. He was really jealous. This little child said that he rarely refined artifacts, but a growth-type equipment was honed from her hands. How could artificers endure this? Wish? Could it be to refine heavenly artifacts? Long Ruoxue asked in puzzlement. Oh, she was an artificer who didn't take advantage of her position, so she wasn't too sure what wishes an artificer had. The greatest wish of an artificer is to be able to refine a growth-type equipment. However, the method to refine that kind of equipment has been lost. However, not everyone can refine it even if it isn't lost, Long Xiaoyu explained. Oh. Long Ruoxue nodded understandingly. Little Schwer, rest early. We'll go back first. With that, Long Xiaoyu disappeared into thin air. After Long Xiaoyu left, Long Ruoxue brought the demon into the bracelet to rest. 2 days later, Long Ruoxue and the others were basking in the sun and drinking tea as usual. For the past 2 days, the Long family had been very quiet. No ignorant people came to disturb them. The injured members of the Long and Sun families had already left. This calm before the storm was broken by the cold frost that came to the garden to look for Long Ruoxue. Sister, the patriarch and elders want to see the three of you, Long Shuang said bluntly when she saw Long Ruoxue. Oh. Long Ruoxue answered lightly. Then, she looked at her grandfather and brother. The grandfather and granddaughter stood up together and prepared to head to the main residence. Sister, you have to be careful, Long Shuang reminded worriedly. Then, she left the snowfall garden with Long Ruoxue and the others. After the 4 of them arrived at the meeting hall in the main mansion, Long Ruoxue and the others walked directly into the meeting hall. In the meeting hall, Long Amin sat in the main seat, and Long Xing sat beside him. That seat usually belonged to the Grand Elder, but the Grand Elder was not in the meeting hall at the moment, and the other elders were sitting below Long Amin and Long Xing. After Long Ruoxue and the others entered the meeting hall, they saw the gazes of the patriarch and the elders focused on them. There were many emotions including helplessness, sympathy, pity, and especially the 10th elder, who was actually looking at her provocatively. Lung Ruoxue sized up the expressions of the elders with interest, then fixed her gaze on the 10th elder and said with a faint smile, "Looks like the 10th elder's injuries are almost healed. Well, transact a few more times." "Deal? What deal?" The 10th elder looked at Long Ruoxue warily. "I want to beat you up a few more times. How about one amethyst coin each time?" Long Ruoxue discussed. "Haha, sister, I think one amethyst coin is a little expensive. The 10th elder isn't worth that much." Lung Shuang laughed impolitely and then said mockingly, "Oh, big sister is right. Why don't we beat him up twice with amethyst coins?" Lung Ruoxue thought for a while and said with difficulty, "Sister, 2 times is too little. I think we can beat him up 10 times, Lung Shuang suggested very seriously. "All right, they'll beat him up 10 times. Lung Ruoxue was very cooperative. The two of them echoed each other, almost infuriating the 10th elder. You guys are too much. How dare you humiliate me like this?" The 10th elder roared furiously, his voice full of energy. "Oh, I'm relieved to see the 10th elder so spirited. Otherwise, I'll feel guilty if I accidentally beat you to death." Lung Ruoxue said very kindly. The 10th elder was so angry that he couldn't say anything. After a while, he knelt down in front of Long Xing and pleaded, "Old ancestor, Lung Ruoxue and Lung Shuang humiliated the management elder like this. You have to uphold justice for me." "Sigh, 10th elder, you're already such a big person. Why are you still complaining to your own family's old ancestor? This isn't something an adult should do." Lung Qingtian said speechlessly. "Well, Shuer only made a few jokes. Was there a need to? How embarrassing." He despised 10th elder's behavior greatly. "Old ancestor." The 10th elder looked at his old ancestor aggrievedly with tears in his eyes. "Lung Shuang, how can you humiliate a manager elder like this as the mistress of the Lung family? Is your performance worthy of being the mistress of the Lung family?" Long Xing questioned angrily. "Ancestor Long Xing, even if I'm not worthy, it won't be Long Wonkia's turn. Therefore, you should save it." Lung Shuang said nonchalantly, not taking Long Xing's threat seriously at all. "You?" Long Xing pointed at Long Shuang, so angry that he couldn't say anything. Rebellious, really rebellious. These people actually learned to do things right with him. He was really angry. "Lung Amin, is this the good wife you married? How dare you contradict your elders?" Long Xing glared at Long Amin and roared angrily after a long time. However, Long Amin turned his head to the other side as if he didn't hear him and looked down at his fingers. "Long Xing, you're really promising. Your descendant complained to the elders while you complained to the juniors. Well, I really don't know if the people who gave birth to you will regret it." Lung Ruoxue teased with a light smile. "How dare you call your elders by their names? You really have no upbringing." Lung Xing roared with a black face. "Elder? Whose elder are you? Don't try to get close to me," Lung Ruoxue said without giving him any face. "Lung Ruoxue, you are a member of my Long family, but you actually don't acknowledge the elders of the Long family. Could this be the Long family's rule in the Lingfeng continent?" Long Xing glared and questioned coldly. Chapter 804, Long Xing. Is this okay? 1. I told you, am not from the Long family. Well, don't mention the family rules first. Tell me, what benefits do we have to acknowledge the Long family? Long Ruoxue asked curiously. Benefits? The Long family is one of the 3 major superfamilies. What else do you want? As a member of the Long family, you should be proud and proud. At the same time, you should work hard for the strength of the family. Long Xing explained excitedly. I have to work like a slave for the family without any benefits. This deal isn't worth it no matter how I think about it. Well, I can't match up to the Long family, so I still say the same thing. Forget it. Long Ruoxue pretended to think for a while, and then refused. Long Ruoxue, as a member of the Long family, you have to admit it no matter what. This isn't up to you. Long Xing roared at the top of his lungs, the veins on his forehead bulging. Oh, in that case, I'll announce my decision to leave the family. Long Ruoxue said with a smile. Leave the family? Dream on. Let me tell you, Long Ruoxue, don't even think of leaving the family unless the family eliminates you. Long Xing warned. What a joke. How could his plan be implemented if Long Ruoxue left the family? Is that so, big sister? Long Ruoxue ignored Long Xing and turned her gaze directly to Long Shuang and asked. Of course not. Long Xing's ancestor hasn't appeared in the family for a long time, so he doesn't remember the family rules. Just listen casually, Long Shuang said with a smile. Oh, I understand. His memory has deteriorated after living for too long, Long Ruoxue said with sympathy on her beautiful face. You. Damn it, Long Amin. Tell them if I'm talking about the family rules? Long Xing glared at Long Amin and threatened him. If Long Amin dared to say no, then he could forget about being the patriarch. Ouch. I'm sorry, old ancestor. My stomach hurts. I have to go to the latrine. Long Amin stood up and ran out of the meeting hall. Damn it. Long Xing watched Long Amin run faster than a rabbit. He was so angry. However, he could only stare. Third elder. Tell Long Ruoxue if what I said is the truth. Long Xing turned his gaze to the third elder, who had his eyes closed and was calm, and asked. Unfortunately, third elder didn't even lift his eyelids and even started snoring. Long Xing was about to die of anger. These people actually all went against him. How preposterous. Seeing that he couldn't count on third elder, he turned his gaze to the fifth elder, whom he had never liked, and continued to ask, Fifth elder, tell me. Oh, Miss Long, ancestor Long Xing is already so old, so we have to respect our elders. Well, whatever he says is fine even if it's not in the Long family's rules. At most, we can add it. The fifth elder advised with a smile and kept winking at Long Ruoxue. Oh. You should indeed respect your elders, Long Xing. Add the rules you set into the clan rules. Long Ruoxue said with a face of understanding. You? Long Xing was so angry that he couldn't breathe and fell straight onto the chair. Old ancestor. The 10th elder hurriedly went forward to save him when he saw this. However, other than the elders who were on good terms with him, the other elders actually didn't go forward to help. Long Ruoxue pulled her grandfather and the others to find an empty seat to sit down. Big sister, Long Xing won't die like this, right? Long Ruoxue asked worriedly after sitting down. No, Xian Zun won't die so easily, Long Shuang said nonchalantly. Oh, that's good. Long Ruoxue was relieved. If Long Xing died like this, she would have nothing to play with. How regretful would that be? After a while, Long Xing woke up. You. How can the Long family have such unfilial descendants? Long Xing pointed at Long Ruoxue with trembling hands, his anger rising. Long Xing, why are you looking for the 3 of us? I think you should tell us earlier. Otherwise, I'm afraid you won't have the chance to tell us later, Long Ruoxue said with a venomous tongue. Yes, tell us whatever last words you have. If we can do it, we definitely won't refuse. Lung Qingtian said with slight sympathy. Alas, this old man's mental endurance was really too poor. He had been outdated with just a few words. He still lacked exercise. You, 10th Elder, tell them the Lung family's decision. Lung Xing ordered the 10th Elder directly in anger.
Yes.
The 10th Elder was very respectful. Listen carefully. The following is the family's decision. The 10th Elder cleared his throat and said very seriously, the family has decided to marry Long Ruoxue to the Sun family. They will betroth Miss Ru Mei to Lung Ruhan as their wife and Lung Wanxiu to the patriarch as their equal. What? I object. I won't agree to Lung Wanxiu entering the door. Lung Shuang stood up from her chair angrily and said loudly as soon as the 10th Elder finished speaking. Damn it. Lung Amin actually dared to hide such a big matter from her. It seemed like her punishment for that wretched thing was still too light. Mistress, this is the family's decision, the 10th Elder warned. What he implied was that even if you were the mistress of the family, you couldn't object to something the family had already decided. Who decided it in the family? 10th Elder, tell me who decided it in the family, Lung Shuang questioned aggressively, her beautiful face full of hostility. Big sister, calm down. Let's listen to the 10th Elder's explanation. Lung Ruoxue smiled spuriously, her beautiful eyes flashing with a cold light, killing intent surging in her heart. She originally wanted to keep these people for a few more days to relieve her boredom. It seemed like they found their lives too long now. In that case, why was she still polite? This is, of course, the decision of the family and the Elder Association, the 10th Elder said confidently as he looked at Long Xing, the Elder Conference's decision. 10th Elder, why don't I know when the Elder Conference made such a decision? Before Long Shuang could say anything, the 5th Elder questioned her first. 10th Elder, could it be that the 5th Elder has been expelled from the Elder Association? Lung Ruoxue asked in puzzlement. Chapter 805, Lung Xing. Is this okay? 2. That's possible. Seems like the Elder Conference is now dominated by the 10th Elder. The other elders are just decorations, Lung Shuang echoed with a light smile, feeling much calmer. Enough. Stop arguing. I decided this matter, Long Xing said, unable to stand it anymore. Then he glared at the 10th Elder and couldn't help cursing in his heart. What an incompetent thing. He couldn't even do such a small thing. You, Ancestor Long Xing, you might be the patriarch of the family, but it doesn't seem like you have the right to decide any decision of the Lung family on your own now. Lung Shuang said rudely. She might have given Long Xing some face on account of his seniority, but there was naturally no need to since she had already exposed her face. How dare you? Is this your attitude towards your elders? Lung Xing said angrily. Ancestor Long Xing, am the mistress of the Lung family. Since you don't respect me, I have no reason to respect you, Lung Shuang said nonchalantly. Long Xing, since you admit that you made the decision, I want to know why you decided our marriage. We didn't admit that we were from the Lung family, Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. How dare you? Whether you admit it or not, you're still a member of the Lung family. This is a fact that no one can change, and the marriage of you siblings naturally has to be decided by the family, Lung Xing said matter-of-factly. Lung Xing, what I want to tell you is that the Lung family doesn't have to worry about our siblings' marriage. I already have a fiancé. As for Lung Rumei, she's not worthy of my brother at all, Lung Ruoxue said with some amusement. Well, she really didn't know what Lung Xing was thinking. Their plan to kill them had failed, and now they had to control their marriage? Unfortunately, in front of her, Long Xing's plan was destined to fail. Long Ruoxue, you siblings are both from the Long family, so your marriage naturally has to listen to the Long family's arrangements. As for your fiancé, our Long family won't admit it. Long Xing glared and said fiercely, "It's none of my business whether the Long family admits it or not. I'll admit it myself. As for my brother, don't even think about having any ideas about him. Lung Rume isn't good enough for my brother." Lung Ruoxue said coldly, the coldness in her voice becoming stronger. "Umph. As a member of the Long family, this isn't up to you. Moreover, your grandfather hasn't even said anything. How can a junior like you have the right to speak?" Lung Xing said very calmly, "Our Schwerer is the head of the family. What she decides is what we want." Lung Qingtian knew that he couldn't play dumb and watched the commotion when he saw Lung Xing drag the matter onto him, so he had to say reluctantly, "You, as an elder, how can you let a hairy girl ride on your head?" Lung Xing said with a resentful look. "What does it have to do with you if I'm happy?" Lung Qingtian swore rarely. After speaking, he felt that it was quite satisfying to occasionally curse. "You?" Long Xing was so choked that he couldn't breathe again and almost fainted again. However, he also knew that it wasn't the time to faint now. Otherwise, this grandfather, granddaughter, and Long Shuang would definitely not be able to deal with that useless thing, the 10th elder. "Long Xing, are you willing to believe me now? You don't have to intervene in our siblings' marriage. Just take care of your descendants. Well, by the way, can Lung Rume stand up? Don't harm anyone even if you want to deal with her." Lung Ruoxue said with a light smile. "Lung Ruoxue, how dare you say that? You actually hit your own clansmen so heavily. Humph. If not for the fact that you still have some beauty, I would have long served your family law." Long Xing said through gritted teeth. "Can I say that she asked for it? If she didn't take out a lousy holy artifact to show off, I wouldn't have used a sword either. Moreover, I didn't inject mystic energy into my sword at all, so her injuries can only mean that her skills are inferior to others. Evil will be rewarded." Lung Ruoxue said without much sympathy. "Lung Ruoxue, no matter how you argue, it's the truth that Rume was injured, so you have to marry into the Sun family on her behalf, and your brother has to marry her because you harmed her." Lung Xing said matter-of-factly, "This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Why should I marry into the Sun family for her? Why does my brother want to marry her? Are you dreaming? Or am I not clear enough? We are not from the Long family. Everything in the Long family has nothing to do with us," Lung Ruoxue said uncontrollably. "Lung Ruoxue, this isn't up to you. Humph. You'll be married to the Sun family in a week. Guards, lock up their grandfather, granddaughter, and the others and watch them closely." Long Xing looked at the 10th elder and instructed, "Old ancestor, what about Wanqiu?" The 10th elder didn't forget his daughter. "In 3 days, Wanqiu will marry Emin as her equal." Long Xing opened his mouth and decided everything. "Long Xing, have you forgotten what I said? I said that I won't allow Lung Wanqiu to enter unless I die." Long Shuang didn't even call him ancestor anymore and called him by his name. "How dare you? 10th elder, take care of Lung Shuang, Lung Ruoxue, her grandfather and granddaughter. No one is to let them out without my order." Long Xing roared, so angry that his nostrils were smoking. Damn it, it was fine if Lung Ruoxue and her grandfather didn't listen to him. After all, they came from a small place, but Long Shuang actually dared to disobey him. This was really unbearable for him. Humph. He had already decided to find a reason to deal with Lung Shuang after Wanqiu married Amin, so that she wouldn't always be an eyesore to him. "Yes, old ancestor." The 10th elder roared towards the door proudly. Guards, arrest these 4 people for me. A few guards quickly ran in from outside the hall as the 10th elder's voice fell. However, the guards looked at each other and no one attacked first. Damn it, didn't you hear my order? The 10th elder roared angrily when he saw that the guards didn't react. Reporting to the 10th elder, we don't dare to lock up the mistress of the household without the order of the patriarch and the elders, one of the guards said. In fact, he wanted to say that they couldn't afford to offend the others. They didn't want to become like Miss May, like a living dead. It was really too terrifying. Chapter 806, Longxing, is this okay? 3. You're really too useless, the 10th elder roared. Then he rushed to the side of Long Ruox's grandfather, granddaughter, and wanted to attack himself. However, in the next second, the 10th elder fell straight to the ground. Old ancestor, the 10th elder, he's dead. An elder who was on good terms with the 10th elder hurriedly ran to the 10th elder's side and said in shock. As soon as that elder finished speaking, everyone in the hall immediately turned their gazes to Long Ruoxue and the others, including third elder, who had been pretending to sleep with his eyes closed. Damn it, what did you do to him? Longxing asked angrily. He had a feeling that Long Ruoxue and the others must have done something. We didn't do anything. Long Ruox's beautiful face was full of innocence. Then why did he die? Longxing asked through gritted teeth. I don't know. Did the 10th elder have a heart attack? Long Ruoxue guessed. Nonsense. How can a cultivator have a heart attack? The fire in Longxing's heart surged, and his face was green and black, almost turning into a color palette. Big sister, looks like Long Wanchio and our brother-in-law's happy occasion won't happen. Alas, her father is already dead. As a daughter, she can't still think of getting married. Long Ruoxue gloated. That's not necessarily true. That woman has been thinking about other people's husbands for more than 20 years. Now that the opportunity is finally here, how can she give up? I think the 10th elder will probably die without any regrets. Lung Shuang sighed softly and said very sympathetically, Haha, she was so happy seeing the 10th elder die. What if her old ancestor dies too? Could it be that she still wants to marry? Lung Ruoxue probed. Yes. No one can stop her even if they die. Lung Shuang said with a naughty smile. She was in a very good mood now, hee. Big sister, I don't believe Lung Wanchio will be so cold-blooded. Lung Ruox's beautiful eyes rolled as she secretly glanced at Longxing's sister. What should we do? You can't crack someone to verify it. Lung Shuang was in a dilemma, her beautiful face full of worry. Longxing, is that okay? Lung Ruoxue turned around and asked with a smile. Can what? Damn it, what do you want to do? Longxing was only angry. At first, he didn't understand what Long Ruoxue meant, but later he reacted. I want to use you to verify if Lung Wanchio is really so cold-blooded. Lung Ruoxue smiled evilly. Well, she was a kind child and didn't like blood. However, sometimes she had to do it. Everyone present understood what Long Ruoxue meant. She was planning to kill Longxing. How bold. She actually dared to kill the characters of the Long family's old ancestor in the Long family's territory. However, they had to admit that they admired Long Ruoxue a little. But they also knew that it would probably be very difficult for Long Ruoxue to walk out of the Long family alive if she really killed Long Xing. Hurry up and look for the Grand Elder. Something bad is going to happen, Third Elder whispered to the Fifth Elder. Well, he was afraid that Long Ruoxue would suffer a loss. After all, Long Xing was a mystic supremacy. I'm afraid it's too late. The Fifth Elder shook his head and sighed. He specially went to the Grand Elder's residence before coming, but he didn't find her. Nothing can happen to Long Ruoxue, her grandfather and brother, Third Elder said anxiously. Probably no one could help them now except for the Grand Elder. We don't know where the Grand Elder is. There's no use panicking, the Fifth Elder said with a slight headache. Just as the two of them were secretly anxious, the furious Long Xing had already stood opposite Long Ruoxue and family and said very coldly with half-closed eyes, "What an ignorant junior. Do you think I don't dare to kill you with the support of the Grand Elder?" Long Xing's killing intent was also completely aroused at this moment. He originally thought that Long Ruoxue and the others still had value, so he decided to let them benefit the Long family better. However, who knew that a junior actually wanted to kill him? This was really unbearable for him. Long Ruoxue's words had obviously angered him, so he had already aroused killing intent. I don't need anyone to back me up, Long Ruoxue said calmly. Then, she signaled her grandfather and brother with her eyes. The two of them understood, and the three of them left the meeting hall. Junior, don't even think about escaping. Long Xing hurriedly chased after him when he saw this. However, when he went out, he found that the grandfather, granddaughter, and the other two were floating in the air, looking at him sideways. Moreover, the freak and Fengde were protecting them. Calm down, we don't intend to escape, but the meeting hall is too small for us to use, so let's change to a bigger place, Long Ruoxue comforted. You. Long Xing's gaze searched the bodies of the demon and the others with uncertainty. He couldn't understand. Didn't he already send people to watch them? Why were they still here? I'm sorry, the subordinates you sent were easy to best. Well, they're all dead. The freak smiled evilly and explained. Not long after Schwer and the others left, a group of guards barged in and imprisoned their operation. However, Fengde and the others were itchy and accidentally dealt with the guards. Then they swaggered to the meeting hall. The Long family members who met them along the way ran away like rats meeting a cat. How dare you kill the Long family's guards? Long Xing roared with a red face and neck. Are those people from the Long family? Why do I seem to see the Sun family's emblem? Could it be that the Long family surrendered to the Sun family? Fengde said with a face full of question marks. That's impossible. Third Elder, who ran out of the meeting hall, hurriedly roared. Boo-hoo. These words couldn't be said carelessly. Long Xing should know better whether it's true or not. I heard that you're even planning to marry my woman to the Sun family? The freak narrowed his eyes, killing intent flashing in them. She's from the Long family. Her marriage naturally has to be arranged by the Long family. My Long family won't admit you at all, Long Xing said proudly, even though he had already decided to get rid of Long Ruoxue, this disobedient descendant. Is that so? If I remember correctly, Schwer doesn't seem to be from the Long family. It doesn't matter even if she is. Can't I just kill everyone who doesn't acknowledge me? The freak said nonchalantly. Then he turned to Schwer and said, Schwer, leave this to me. Chapter 807. Long Xing. Is this okay? 4. Okay, Long Xing, bring your lackeys out for a walk. ITLL save me some trouble, Long Ruoxue said impatiently. Long Ruoxue, you're courting death. I originally wanted to give you 3 a way out. Long Xing roared at the void after speaking. Swish, swish, swish. Several figures appeared in the air and stood side by side with Long Xing as the roar fell. Long Xing, Is there a need for us to take action against a few juniors? A man in black said unhappily. You're mistaken. It's enough for me to deal with these juniors alone. I want you here to deal with the Grand Elder, Long Xing said honestly. He had made many preparations for Long Ruoxue and the others, and the current one was his most powerful trump card. Moreover, he absolutely had to plant it with one strike. Otherwise, he probably wouldn't have a chance next time. Where is the Grand Elder? The black-clothed man said with hatred. The Grand Elder will naturally arrive after I kill these juniors, Long Xing said with abnormal confidence. He knew that his father couldn't stop the Grand Elder. However, as long as he could buy some time and let him kill Long Ruoxue and the others, it would be enough. So you even want to kill the Grand Elder? Long Ruoxue said in realization as if she had heard a joke. That old fart will only cause trouble for us. We've long wished for him to be dead, Long Xing said fiercely. In fact, he had been bullied by the Grand Elder a lot. However, he couldn't beat the Grand Elder, so he could only stab him in the back. This time, he was also afraid that the Grand Elder would disturb his affairs. Therefore, he got his father to invite the Grand Elder to drink tea and chat. Originally, he only hoped to force Long Ruoxue to agree to his request. However, he didn't expect that not only was she unwilling, she even wanted to kill him. He also had the intention to kill. Therefore, both sides were about to erupt at any moment. At this moment, he was most afraid that the Grand Elder would suddenly appear. Therefore, he had to kill Long Ruoxue and the others before that old thing arrived. Well, of course, it would be perfect if he could get rid of the Grand Elder along the way. He had already thought of the excuse to kill the Grand Elder. Alas, poor Grand Elder. He worked like a slave for the Long family. In the end, he would actually die in the hands of the Long family, Long Ruoxue said with infinite sympathy. However, she was so happy in her heart. Kill. It was best if you killed the cheap sake old ancestor too. This way, the Long family wouldn't have poor relatives like them. As a member of the Long family, it's only right for him to work hard for the Long family. It's also his honor to die for the Long family, so the Grand Elder has nothing to complain about at all, Long Xing said very self-righteously. Oh. In that case, you should be honored too, Long Ruoxue said with a smile. Then she gave the freak and the others a look and released her beasts. However, considering that she didn't want to expose too much strength at once, only Feng Wu, Feng Miao, and Feng Zhan were released by her in the Phoenix clan and the Dragon clan. After the beasts came out, all the silver wolves returned to their original form according to the strategy they had discussed beforehand and surrounded Long Xing and the others. They looked at Long Xing as if he was a dead man, contempt flashing in their eyes at the same time. Charm and the others still maintained their transmogrification so that they could confuse the enemy and hide their strength. Long Xing and the Long family were dumbfounded as they looked at the beasts that suddenly appeared. Oh God! Why were there so many beasts suddenly? There were beasts in the sky and on the ground. Now, they were all surrounded. Some carnivores even bared their teeth and glared at them, making their hearts thump. Third Elder, am I seeing things? Could these be the beasts of Long Ruoxue and the others? The fifth elder in the crowd rubbed his eyes, his face full of disbelief. Heavens! Every beast here was a transcendent divine beast. This was the first time he had seen so many transcendent divine beasts gathered together. Yes, looks like we all underestimated Long Ruoxue. Alas! With just these beasts, they don't need to rely on our Long family, Third Elder said with emotion. Boo-hoo. These were all super divine beasts. Every single one of them was. It was really too enviable. Well, the few little red birds flying among the beasts were a little strange. They looked like miniature phoenixes. Third Elder and Fifth Elder whispered to each other, but Long Xing asked bluntly, Long Ruoxue, where did these beasts come from? Can't you tell? Of course they're my contract beasts. Long Ruoxue smiled as if she was saying, the weather is so good today. No, this is impossible. How can you contract so many beasts? Long Xing didn't believe Long Ruoxue's words at all. Moreover, Even if Long Ruoxue told him that these beasts belonged to all of them, he wouldn't believe her because there were at least 1,000 silver wolves in front of him. Why not? You're really too ignorant. Moreover, to tell you the truth, I have a good character, so these beasts contract on their own accord. A gorgeous smile hung on Long Ruoxue's beautiful face, but the words she said were infuriating. Damn, what did he mean by taking the initiative to contract? Why couldn't they meet a beast that came knocking on their door? It was really infuriating to compare oneself to others. The Long family couldn't help but grumble in their hearts. Ever since the internal competition of the three major families, they had been a little afraid of Long Ruoxue. However, now they knew that that was because she had been too low-key. And after seeing this situation, the elders who expressed their support for Long Xing were a little shaken. However, since they had already made a choice, they had to be responsible for their own actions because Long Ruoxue would not give them another chance to plot against them. Therefore, their tragedy had been decided long after they chose Long Xing. You, Long Ruoxue, don't be too smug. These beasts might be transcendent divine beasts, but they are not level 9 after all. Are we afraid that we can't deal with them with so many mystic supremacies? Long Xing pretended to be indifferent in his anger. Chapter 808. The Tortured Long Xing 1. You want a level 9 beast? Long Ruoxue looked at Long Xing and asked lightly. I might be afraid if you brought out the same number of beasts if they are all level 9 transcendent divine beasts, but do you think I care if you bring out these low-level beasts? Long Xing said stubbornly. Is that so? Long Xing, didn't your father tell you that you will regret underestimating your enemy? Long Ruoxue laughed mockingly. Hee, looking down on the combat strength of his beast will make him regret it for life. Am telling the truth, Long Xing said arrogantly. Cute master, am being looked down upon. Boo-hoo! Baby's eyes were filled with tears as it said pitifully. Then it glared at Long Xing and said fiercely, Long, I want to destroy you on behalf of master. Darling gave Dazzle and the other little beasts a look immediately after it finished speaking. In an instant, a few small transmogrification beasts quickly rushed towards Long Xing. Damn it, stay away from me. Long Xing, who was entangled by a few little beasts, roared furiously in everyone's ears. However, the little beasts jumping left and right on his body were as slippery as a loach, and he couldn't catch them at all. Not only that, in less than a moment, his body was already covered in wounds, and his clothes had become tattered cloths that hung unsteadily on his body, threatening to go naked at any time. The Long family looked at Long Xing with sympathy, but no one had the intention to go forward to help. Well, it wasn't that they didn't want to, but they didn't dare. After all, they didn't want to be tortured badly by those little beasts like what they did to Long Xing, who asked you to look down on us. Who asked you to look down on us? Darling and the other beasts muttered while scratching. Long Ruoxue couldn't help but have a black line across her forehead when she saw the indignant expressions of her children. Oh, her beasts really wanted to capture and scratch to the end. However, it had been a long time since she saw her children do this, and she actually felt a little intimate. Her beasts were really too cute. Schwer, they snatched my opponent. I can't wait any longer. Otherwise, this thing will die soon, the freak said anxiously. Well, although the strength of the treasures was not high, he was very clear about the abilities of these little beasts. A mystic supremacy could be tortured to death by them if they were united. Therefore, he had to attack. Thinking of this, the freak transformed into a stream of light and rushed into the circle of the beasts. His target was Long Xing. Long Xing was badly battered by the few little beasts, so he was not prepared at all. His face was punched by the freak, and blood flowed down his face in the blink of an eye. Damn, who ambushed me? Long Xing did not see the person in front of him clearly because his eyes were blurred by blood, but he immediately roared, "Your ancestor, me! You unfilial grandson! Hurry up and kowtow to your ancestor!" After the freak finished speaking, he kicked Long Xing's butt, and Long Xing knelt straight on the ground. I won't let you go." Long Xing, who was kicked to the ground, was extremely depressed. He was about to stand up, but he realized that he couldn't move his body. Damn it, what was going on? "Well, seeing that you're so obedient, I'll let you die a better death." The freak was also very kind. With that, he directly waved his fist and hit Long Xing's abdomen, making Long Xing cry out in pain. In order to show his kindness and strength, he decided not to let Long Xing die too quickly. Well, he didn't want the Long family to have another Long Xing himself. He was really tired of living for daring to let his woman marry someone else. Long Xing could only move his mouth. He had no power to retaliate under the freak's heavy fist. The blood on his body had already stained the tattered cloth on his body. Unfortunately, it's not dragon blood. Long Ruoxue couldn't help sighing as she looked at the blood flowing out of Long Xing. At the same time, her beautiful eyes were observing the actions of the other Long family members. "Damn it, why aren't you attacking?" Long Xing, who was about to faint from the pain, used all his strength and roared. The black-clothed man not far away hesitated when he heard Long Xing's words, but he still waved his hand like a companion, indicating for them to help. After all, it would not be beneficial to him if Long Xing was beaten to death. However, he was a little afraid of the existence of these beasts. Even though he also had beasts, they were really not enough in front of so many beasts. Unfortunately, they were in the same boat as Long Xing now, so it was probably impossible for him to stay outside the world. After sensing the abnormality of Long Xing's lackeys, Long Ruoxue also gave Fengde and the others a look. Fengde and the others understood. However, the opponents in front of them were obviously not enough. So in order to obtain the qualifications to fight, they actually started guessing punches. This scene made the Long family present want to curse. Cheng Wu and the others, who had won the guessing game, each found an opponent and rushed to the center of the battlefield excitedly. The others looked at them enviously. "You guys actually didn't leave one for me?" Long Ruoxue said speechlessly. "Boo-hoo, why did these people forget about her existence as a young miss the moment they heard about fighting? She also wanted to practice. Miss, there are still some elders over there. Can we beat them up?" Lu Tao said with eyes full of desire. "Yes, sure. Hee, I forgot about them." Long Ruoxue smiled evilly and then came to an elder. What do you want?" The elder's heart kept trembling when he saw Long Ruoxue. His body was trembling like a fallen leaf in the wind. "The people who wanted to spar with you were all occupied by my subordinates, so I had to aggressively look for you elders," Long Ruoxue said helplessly. Alas, these elders' strength was obviously inferior to the people who appeared later. However, they could be used. "Don't wrong yourself. Go find someone else to spar with." That elder had a long face, his heart full of regret. Boo-hoo. This was the retribution for him taking the wrong side. How did it come so quickly? However, he felt that this couldn't be blamed on him. After all, no one knew that Long Ruoxue actually had so many beasts. Furthermore, every one of them was a transcendent divine beast. This was a considerable force in the vast heaven continent. If they had known earlier, they would definitely treat Long Ruoxue differently. Chapter 809. The Tortured Long Xing 2. I like you. How many elders are you? Long Ruoxue was very loyal and wouldn't change people easily. Boo-hoo. I'm number 19. My strength is too low. The 19th elder had tears in his eyes and looked extremely aggrieved. You're also a mystic supremacy. What's there to be humble about? After Long Ruoxue finished speaking, she grabbed his collar like she was picking up a chicken and dragged him into the battle circle slightly roughly. Then, A fiery red mystic energy directly attacked the 19th Elder's face. The 19th Elder jumped up in shock and dodged the mystic energy attack. However, he still had lingering fears and was afraid before the battle. 19th Elder, I'll let you go if you can beat me. Long Ruoxue looked at the 19th Elder's hiding appearance and said resentfully, Really? Then none of us are allowed to use beasts. The 19th Elder was overjoyed, but he didn't show it on his face. Moreover, he took the opportunity to propose his conditions. What a joke. No one would be able to withstand it if those beasts attacked together. No problem, but if you lose, you can only die. Long Ruoxue continued. They'll definitely win, the 19th Elder suddenly said with an imposing manner. Boo-hoo. If he couldn't even beat a great mystic, then he wouldn't have to survive in the vast heaven continent. However, after the real fight, the 19th Elder realized how terrifying Long Ruoxue was. It was too late for him to regret it. However, he couldn't help cursing in his heart. Damn it, this was too much of a bully. He was obviously not a great mystic, but he actually used the excuse of a great mystic to deceive them, causing them to miscalculate the strength of Long Ruoxue and the others. This was really too despicable. He couldn't help crying and regretting until his intestines turned green. 19th Elder, you're not paying attention. Long Ruoxue looked at the 19th Elder's thoughtful expression and calmly accused him. However, the light blue mystic energy in her hand kept attacking the 19th Elder. Long Ruoxue, what exactly is your strength? The 19th Elder said angrily. He knew that Long Ruoxue's strength was definitely not that of a great mystic, but because Long Ruoxue had never really used a mystic technique and only kept teasing him with terrifying mystic energy, he really couldn't tell Long Ruoxue's level for a moment. Just a mystic sovereign. Long Ruoxue smiled indifferently. The mystic sovereign is just returning it. The 19th Elder almost fainted before he could catch his breath. However, he quickly composed himself. After that, he looked at Long Ruoxue with a strange expression and sighed with emotion in his heart. Alas! Unfortunately, such an extraordinary person couldn't be used by the clan, and he couldn't be killed. I presume some old antiques in the clan will definitely have a headache if they know. Haha, 19th Elder, I was just teasing you just now, but now I'm going to really attack. After Long Ruoxue finished speaking, the majestic water attribute, profound energy, quickly gathered in her hand. Shortly after, tens of thousands of raindrops surged towards 19th Elder from all directions. Long Ruoxue also named this mystic technique meteor rain. However, this was naturally a modified meteor shower after her modification. Moreover, the meteor shower she used on the 19th Elder was absolutely much stronger than the one she used on Long Rume. The unlucky 19th Elder kept dodging left and right after seeing the raindrops. However, many raindrops still hit him and passed through his body. In an instant, the 19th Elder fell to the ground, dead. Long Ruoxue released another small flame and threw it at the 19th Elder to destroy the evidence. Not far away, the Long family members who were not affected by the battle couldn't help but tremble when they saw Long Ruoxue's skilled technique. Bean-sized sweat dripped down their foreheads non-stop. Boo-hoo. This woman was really too terrifying. How could her movements be so natural and smooth? The elders who had been dragged into the battle by Lu Tao and the others saw the condition of the 19th Elder from the corner of their eyes, and their hearts trembled. Boo-hoo. They were so afraid that the 19th Elder's outcome would be theirs because they were closer to Long Xing and the others. After Long Ruoxue dealt with her opponents, she raised her beautiful eyes to size up every move on the battlefield. At this moment, her grandfather, brother, and the others were excitedly fighting with their opponents. Her own beasts would launch sneak attacks from time to time, and all sorts of mystic energy danced dazzlingly like ribbons in the entire Long family's main residence and in the air. Freak, don't kill him. Long Ruoxue said hurriedly when she saw the dying Long Xing. Why? The freak looked up at Shuer with a face full of question marks. Oh, could it be that Shuer's heart softened? I haven't beaten him up yet. How can he die? Long Ruoxue said with a naughty smile. Baby and the other beastmen jumped into her arms and nodded their heads in agreement. But he only has one breath left, the freak said in frustration. Boo-hoo. It was all his fault for being too heavy-handed. It's okay. I have pills. As long as he's still breathing, he won't die, Lung Ruashue promised. Then, she took out a jade bottle from her bracelet and poured out a pure white pill from it, handing it to the demon. Schwer, isn't it a waste to give him this medicine? The freak was a little reluctant. This medicine improves quickly. Well, it's okay, as long as we beat him up to our heart's content, Lung Ruashue said nonchalantly. Okay. The freak pried Lung Xing's mouth open and threw the pill in. Sure enough, the injuries on Lung Xing's body healed in the blink of an eye. Schwer, beat him up slowly, the freak said, and then released the restraints on Lung Xing. Lung Xing, who was in a daze, felt that the injuries on his body had all healed and his body could move again. He got up from the ground with a whoosh and was about to flare up when he was hit by a fire attribute mystic energy. Immediately, a charred smell came from his body. Damn it, Lung Ruashue. What kind of ability is your sneak attack? Lung Xing looked at Lung Ruashue, whose face was full of provocation, and he was so angry. The scene of being beaten up by that barbaric man was still vivid in his mind, making him unable to forget it even if he wanted to. Now, he absolutely hated these two people to the bone. Chapter 8:10. The Tortured Lung Xing. 3. You're capable of bullying the weak? Lung Ruashue didn't want to argue with him. She only wanted to teach him a good lesson. So after attracting Lung Xing's attention, the mystic techniques in her hand didn't stop. Red, light blue, and cyan mystic techniques were used alternately, attacking Lung Xing nonstop. Damn it, you pervert. Lung Xing was very depressed. He could only defend nonstop and had no chance to retaliate at all. Moreover, the few beasts that were eyeing him covetously would ambush him for no reason. Therefore, not only did he have to defend against Lung Ruakshu's attack, but he also had to divert his attention to stare at the few annoying little beasts. Lung Xing, today, I'll let you taste the power of my meteor sword technique. Lung Ruashue thought for a moment, and a sword with a cold light appeared in her hand. Lung Xing recognized this sword, but with his experience, he only treated it as a holy artifact. However, the power of this holy artifact was not small, and he had a deep understanding of it. Therefore, he immediately raised his guard. Lung Ruashue raised Haning high above her head and gently rotated her wrist. Tens of thousands of sword beams shone on everyone's bodies, causing a chill to rise in the bottom of their hearts. Immediately after, she officially activated her sword technique and injected water attribute mystic energy into it. The meteor sword cooperated with the meteor shower and attacked Lung Xing from all directions. Lung Xing immediately strengthened his defense seeing this. However, he still underestimated the sharpness of the sword beam. With a crisp bang, the sword beam tore through his defense shield and hit him directly. Tens of thousands of raindrops passed through his body, and he directly vomited a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground. However, his face was filled with disbelief. No, this is impossible. Lung Xing, who was bleeding nonstop and only had a breath left, was unwilling to believe this fact. He was a mystic supremacy. He was a mystic supremacy. How could he lose to a little girl? He had never even attacked except for his defense. Boo-hoo. How was this possible? This was too big a blow to him. However, the bigger blow was still coming. Miss, is he dead? Fengda, who had already dealt with his opponent, ran to Lung Ruakshu's side and asked worriedly. He's still breathing. Lung Ruashue looked at Lung Xing and said lightly. She deliberately controlled her strength, so Lung Xing was still alive. Miss, give me a pill. I want to cure him, Fengda said expectantly. Okay. Lung Ruashue didn't hesitate and took out the bottle containing the pills and handed it to Fengda. Fengda laughed evilly. Then, He also threw a pill into Long Xing's mouth in the same way. Long Xing's injuries healed as good as new in a moment. However, the blow Long Xing received previously was obviously a little big, so he didn't react for a while. By the time he came back to his senses, Feng Da's mystic technique had already hit him. Long Xing was furious seeing this. Damn, why did he become a soft persimmon? Everyone actually wanted to step on him. However, he was stunned by Feng Da before he could show his might. Immediately after, Long Ruhan and the others mimicked Long Ruoxue and Feng Da and fed him a pill before Long Xing stopped breathing. Then, they used him to practice. In the beginning, Long Xing was still very strong, but gradually, he became numb. He didn't know how to fight back and just kept shouting, "Hurry up and kill me!" The double blow to his heart and body caused Long Xing to collapse completely. The Long family members who were still alive were terrified when they saw Long Xing's miserable state. At this moment, their fear for Long Ruoxue and the others had already seeped into their bones. Moreover, some of the timid ones couldn't stand on their weak legs. Boo-hoo. These people were really too ruthless. How could they torture others like this? Poor Long Xing. Their sympathy for him was like the endless river water. However, at this moment, no one dared to speak for Long Xing because Long Xing's helpers were all dead. Mistress, this can't go on. The third elder walked to Long Shuang's side, who was also dumbfounded, and said softly, "Boo-hoo." Even though he didn't like Long Xing, he felt some sympathy for Long Xing at this moment. He also hoped that Mistress could say something to let Long Ruoxue and the others give Long Xing a quick death. After all, everyone except Long Xing who was in the same pants as him was dead. Third elder, I can't do anything about this, Long Shuang said helplessly. Boo-hoo. She didn't know where her father-in-law was hiding. She should disappear too. With that, she slipped away in front of Third elder. Well, she had other things to do. Third elder, we can't meddle in this matter. Let's go too. Otherwise, someone might make things difficult for us, the fifth elder said understandingly. Alas, who asked them to watch with folded arms? However, this matter was really not something they could meddle in. They wanted to, but they were powerless. All right. Third elder was helpless and had to secretly leave the crowd with the fifth elder. The other members of the Long family, who had good taste, slipped away when they saw this. Long Xing, poor fellow, your clansmen have abandoned you. Long Ruoxue saw from the corner of her eye that most of the Long family members who were not affected had left, so she looked at Long Xing, who was pretending to be dead on the ground, with some sympathy. Miss, his minions are all dead. It's not good for us to keep him for too long. Why don't we send him on his way now? Otherwise, he won't be able to catch up to his companions, Chengwu suggested very kindly. Okay, do it. Long Ruoxue nodded. Okay. Chengwu was interrupted by a roar just as he raised his hand. Who dares to kill my son? Hand over your life. Before the person could say anything, a fiery red mystic energy directly pounced at Chengwu. Chengwu narrowed his eyes. When the fiery red streak was about to reach him, he waved his hand gently and canceled that attack. Then he used another wind blade and directly killed Long Xing. I want to kill you. Seeing his son die in front of him, a middle-aged man attacked Chengwu crazily, and Chengwu calmly fought with him. Long Yin, your line likes to bully the young. Suddenly, a slightly mocking voice sounded in everyone's ears. Immediately after, a fiery red figure appeared in front of everyone. Long Qinyes' handsome face had a beautiful smile, and he kept blinking at Long Ruoxue and the others. Chapter 811. The Ruthless Long Shuang 1. Damn it. You still have the face to say that my son would have died if you didn't pester me? Long Yin roared back angrily. He wanted to chop Long Qinyes into pieces at the thought of this. Long Yin, how can you wrong me? You were the one who wanted to drag me to drink tea and chat. I wanted to come back, but you refused to let him go. Now, you're blaming me. Boo-hoo. Your family is really too good at distorting the truth. Long Qinyes' handsome face was full of grievance, and tears kept flashing in his eyes. You still have the face to say that you clearly know that something has happened to the family, but you actually pestered me and didn't let go. Long Yin roared while being wary of Cheng Wu. I'm innocent. That place is full of your people. How would I know that something happened to the family? Long Qinya played dumb until the end, the expression on his face as aggrieved as it could be. Okay, even if you don't know, why are you stopping me now? Long Yin thought that Long Qinya was here to stop him, so the anger in his heart surged. I didn't stop you. I just felt that it was a little embarrassing for you to bully the younger generation, Long Qinya said with a smile. In fact, he was mainly thinking whether Long Yan's father would be angered to death if he came. This family was very protective people, and looking at this, Long Yan's life would probably be lost here. Alas, how pitiful. They killed my son. I don't care if they're juniors. In short, they're dead meat. Long Yinhua roared, his heart full of hatred. He only had this one son. Old fart, you have to have the ability to kill us. Fengda, who was watching the commotion by the side, said nonchalantly, well, many people from the Long family wanted to kill them, but they all died in their hands in the end. All of you deserve to die. Long Yin was very angry, but he was entangled by Cheng Wu to the point that he couldn't do anything at all. At this moment, the two of them had already fought for more than 100 rounds, and the outcome of the battle couldn't be determined at all. So, he became more and more uneasy in his heart. One had to know that he had advanced to mystic supremacy for many years, and no ordinary mystic supremacy could compare to him in terms of experience and profound strength. However, he actually couldn't even take down a junior. How could he survive in the Long family in the future if news of this got out? You deserve to die even more, Cheng Wu said unhurriedly. Then he threw a pill to recover his mystic energy into his mouth. Did this old thing think that he had a lot of mystic energy? It wouldn't tire him to death. Damn it, how can you eat pills? Long Yin was furious. Wasn't this cheating? It was really too despicable. We're fighting a life and death battle. Either or us will die. Could it be that you won't allow me to eat medicinal pills? You can also eat some if you want, Cheng Wu said with some amusement and suggested very kindly. You, Long Yan's face turned red, and the anger in his heart rose another level. He couldn't help cursing. Damn, he was really too much of a bully. If he had it, would he not eat it? There were a few alchemists supported by the Long family, but the medicinal herbs refined pills that recovered mystic energy were very expensive. Therefore, it was impossible for a super family like theirs to refine too many, much less eat them like him in battle. This was really too wasteful. Big brother Cheng, let me play. Song Di, who was watching the commotion by the side, said with itching hands. Well, this old thing seemed to be quite strong. Okay, Cheng Wu replied. Then, he gave the battlefield to Song Di and retreated to the side to watch the battle. Long Yin was furious when he left. Damn, was this a tag team battle? Haha, old thing, you have to take care of yourself. We still have a lot of people. Song Di reminded with a naughty smile. Damn it, cut the crap. Long Yin was angry. The consequences were very serious. You'll suffer a loss in front of you if you don't listen to me. Song Di was very aggrieved. He had only kindly reminded him. How did he anger this old thing? Boo-hoo. Song Di fought Long Yin for nearly 100 rounds on the field before changing again. Moreover, Long Ruox's side was very self-aware. Each person went forward and fought for more than 100 rounds before giving up their position. Well, in this way, they even saved using so many medicinal pills. Poor Long Yin was already panting from exhaustion. Schwerer, you're ruthless. Long Qinya, who had been watching the commotion, came to Long Ruox's side and gloated. Alas, there are too many subordinates, and there are usually no good opponents, so I can only wrong this certain person from the Long family, Long Ruoxu said very innocently. Schwerer, if each of you were to fight another round, he would probably be exhausted to death, Long Qinya reminded. Well, he had lived for so long, But this was the first time he had seen a mystic supremacy die of exhaustion in battle. Schwer had broadened his horizons. Another round? I'm afraid he won't be able to last that long. However, what I want to say is that your Long family is too lousy. A mighty mystic supremacy actually didn't even prepare medicinal pills to recover mystic energy. Long Ruoxue accused. Little Schwer, the materials for pills to recover mystic energy are very precious. There are so many people in the Long family. How can we afford them? Long Qinya said aggrievedly with a bitter face. Boo-hoo. It was not good to have too many people in a family. There were not enough resources. The Long family has been passed down for tens of thousands of years. Do you think him a 3-year-old child? Long Ruoxue obviously didn't believe him. Schwer, little girl. Long Qinya still wanted to explain, but he realized that Cheng Wu, who had gone on stage again, had already dealt with Long Yin. Not only that, but he was instantly destroyed by a little red bird. He should still pretend not to see it. However, Long Feng, that old thing, would probably come soon after Long Yin died. Master, the battlefield has been cleaned up. I guarantee that there won't be any traces left behind. We can leave now. Feng Zhan jumped onto Long Ruoxue's shoulder and said ingratiatingly, Good girl. Long Ruoxue patted Feng Zhan's little head and praised. Oh, Schwer, does this little bird often do such things? Long Qinya's forehead dripped with several black lines as he said in surprise. Isn't that normal? Long Ruoxue said nonchalantly. Long Qinya didn't know what to say. These people were really ruthless. They didn't even leave their corpses behind. It seemed that he was still very kind compared to them. Chapter 812. The Ruthless Long Shuang, 2. Damn it. Who killed my son and grandson? Suddenly, a roar entered the ears of everyone that was about to leave. After hearing this voice, Long Ruoxue couldn't help asking Long Qinya with her eyes, was there anyone else above them? Long Qinya shook his head, indicating that there was nothing else. An old man had already appeared in front of them, just as they were exchanging glances. You killed my son and grandson? Long Feng's slightly turbid eyes shot out a light of hatred. However, his pupils kept contracting when he saw Long Qinya not far away. Who are your son and grandson? We don't have outsiders here. Long Ruoxue's face was not red as she lied without batting an eyelid. That's right. Old man, if you want to find a son and grandson, don't malign others. Fengda and the others hurriedly echoed. Long Feng was so angry that he was about to explode. He composed himself and then questioned, Is the little girl Long Ruoxue? He knew his grandson's plan. Now that his grandson and son were dead, the little girl in front of him was alive and well. Therefore, he believed Long Ruoxue was the murderer without thinking. I am. Long Ruoxue didn't deny it. Lass, hand over your life. Long Feng attacked Long Ruoxue without a word. However, how could Long Qinya let him do as he wished? Long Qinya raised his hand gently, and Long Feng's attack was resolved. Long Qinya, could it be that you want to shield her? Long Feng roared furiously, his fire-breathing eyes glaring at Long Qinya tightly. He was still afraid of Long Qinya. However, he had worked in the Long family for many years and finally had the power today. However, it was destroyed by a little girl now. How could he bear this? Long Feng, do you know why all the elders of your line died? It's because you're too narrow-minded and can't tolerate others, so I advise you to do your best. Long Qinya didn't answer the question because he knew that this old thing wouldn't listen to advice. However, he had to pretend. After all, if he even killed the other 3, he was afraid that someone from his eldest grandfather's line would take the opportunity to make things difficult for him. My children and grandchildren are all dead. What's the use of telling me this now? In short, I must kill Long Ruoxue and the others and use them to mourn the souls of my children and grandchildren in heaven. Long Feng said with hatred. Old man, you have to have the ability to kill us even if you want to. Otherwise, you will probably be like your son and grandson. Long Ruoxue deliberately provoked. Well, since this old man knew her name, then he should have participated in Long Xing's plan. So it was probably useless for her to pretend. What a sharp-tongued little girl. Don't think that you can live today with Long Qinya protecting you. Humph. You're dead meat. He went all out for the sake of avenging his son and granddaughter. I don't need him to protect me. Instead, it's you. Why don't I give you some time? Go get some helpers. Lung Ruoxue reminded kindly. Alas, Lung Qinya was half happy and half worried when he heard Lung Ruoxue's words. He was happy to have such a powerful descendant, but he was worried that he didn't have a chance to perform. Boo-hoo. Why couldn't his descendant be like other people's children? Why did he have to find the ancestors to support him? This little girl really didn't give him a sense of accomplishment. Thinking of this, he felt extremely depressed. Lass, be stubborn. After Long Feng finished speaking, he consecutively released a few streaks of mystic energy. 2 of them attacked Long Qinya, and the rest went straight for Lung Ruoxue. Lung Ruoxue looked at Long Feng with slight mockery. Then, she gently rotated her wrist. Han Ying's sword light easily shattered Long Feng's mystic energy, and then the sharp sword light flew in Long Feng's direction. Long Feng looked at the threatening cold sword beam and was extremely frightened in his heart. How was this possible? This was a mystic supremacy's mystic energy. How could it be shattered so easily? This sword. Long Feng had the intention to snatch the sword in Long Ruoxue's hand. This sword was so sharp, it was a pity to give it to a girl. As the saying goes, a treasured sword deserves a hero, so he felt that only he was worthy of having such a sword. However, Lung Ruoxue still didn't know that someone had designs on her sword. Otherwise, she would have cut him into pieces long ago, and she wouldn't have the intention to tease him. At this moment, Cheng Wu and the others had already surrounded Long Feng and were staring at him like he was their prey. Long Feng, your grandfather and granddaughter are really getting worse and worse. They even want to kill me. Lung Qinya easily neutralized Long Feng's attack and said with a light smile, well, now, if eldest granduncle had any ideas, he would have a reason. It was great. He couldn't wait for Long Feng to attack him directly. Do you think I don't know that you're on the same side? Lung Ruoxue killed my son and grandson because you're backing her up. How would she dare to otherwise? Lung Feng roared angrily. Old man, I find that your grandfather and granddaughter are quite self-righteous. If Long Xing wants to plot against me, can I still let him plot against me? Since he dares to plot against me, how can he not pay a price? Moreover, I'll say it one last time. I don't need the Grand Elder to support me. Lung Ruoxue said helplessly. Alas, why couldn't the Long family understand human language? How annoying. Lass, in that case, it's only right for me to kill you to avenge my children and grandchildren. Lung Feng said with a cold smile. Of course, but the premise is that you have to kill me. Lung Ruoxue said nonchalantly, not taking Lung Feng's threat seriously at all. Last, take this. Lung Feng launched another attack after hearing Lung Ruoxue's words. Okay, be careful. Lung Ruoxue reminded. At this moment, Han Ying's sword light had already approached Long Feng and cut open Long Feng's defense with unstoppable force, hitting him directly. Immediately after, Long Feng spat out a mouthful of blood. Lung Ruoxue was very satisfied when she saw that Long Feng didn't collapse like Long Xing and only spat out a mouthful of blood. Well, as expected of a grandfather, he was just better at enduring beatings than a grandson. Seeing this, she directly injected water attribute mystic energy into her sword, and then tens of thousands of sword beams scattered out with the meteor shower. However, they were the ones who caused Meyer to be like this, so I couldn't control my emotions. Please forgive me, big sister. Long Wanchio held back the anger in her heart and said gently in a low voice. She would deal with Long Shuang properly after she became the patriarch's wife, so she could only bear with it now. Don't call me big sister. I can't hold this honor. Also, by the way, don't even think about marrying Lung Amin as long as I'm alive, Lung Shuang said domineeringly. Patriarch. Lung Wanchio ignored Lung Shuang and looked at Lung Amin with tears in her beautiful eyes. However, Lung Amian turned his head and didn't look at Lung Wanqiu at all. Let me tell you too. I want marry into the Sun family for your daughter. Your daughter isn't qualified to marry my brother either, Lung Ruoxue said timely. Lung Ruoxue, you harmed your own clansmen. Not only do you not know how to repent, you actually, Lung Wanqiu couldn't continue. Faint tears rolled down her eyes. Her tear-stained appearance was enough to make any man's heart soften. Unfortunately, no one present except Lung Amin liked to treat women gently. Lung Amin didn't dare to pay attention to other women with Lung Shuang around. Clansman? You're not talking about Lung Rumei, are you? Lung Ruoxue's face was full of curiosity. Rumei is the daughter of the patriarch and can be considered your master, but now, she can only lie in bed forever because of you. Shouldn't you be ashamed? There will inevitably be injuries in the battle, so we can't let you pay with your life. We just want you to do something now and find someone to rely on for the rest of Rumei's life. Why aren't you willing? Lung Wanqiu questioned with tears in her eyes, her words even more like how much her daughter had been wronged. Lung Ruoxue was a little speechless after hearing Lung Wanqiu's words. What kind of logic was this? The patriarch's daughter was her master? What was she even thinking? She even wanted her to compensate him. Dream on. Could it be that making you Long Yimin's wife is also a form of compensation for you and your daughter? Lung Shuang said with a spurious smile. Lung Wanqiu's words made her blush a little. She had seen shameless people, but she had really never seen someone so shameless. I raised a pair of children for the patriarch. Shouldn't the patriarch give me a title? Lung Wanqiu questioned softly. She was full of confidence now that she had the patriarch backing her up. Should I? Lung Wanqiu, we both know what happened back then. Do I have to say it? Lung Shuang questioned disapprovingly. I don't understand what matriarch means. Lung Wanqiu pretended to be stupid. Lung Wanqiu, didn't you plan everything back then? Lung Shuang chuckled and looked at Lung Wanqiu lightly. I don't know what the matriarch is talking about. Back then, it was clearly the patriarch who had a disorderly nature after drinking and bullied me. I was the victim, and for so many years, the patriarch didn't give me a title. I didn't say anything either, Lung Wanqiu said, seemingly aggrieved. Lung Wanqiu, do you know why you were able to live well for so many years and your children are treated like the eldest miss and young master? Lung Shuang said with a spurious smile. Then her beautiful eyes looked at Lung Amin gently. Rumei and her brother are the children of the patriarch. Isn't it natural to have the treatment of the young miss and the young master? Moreover, the patriarch loves them very much, Lung Wanqiu said calmly. Haha, what a joke. A pair of illegitimate children of unknown origins enjoy the same treatment as the young master. Do you think I, the matriarch of the family, can tolerate it? Lung Shuang smiled maliciously as if she was looking at a dead person. She was even ruthless to her own man, let alone a cheap woman who missed another man. Chapter 814. The Ruthless Lung Shuang 4. What do you mean? Lung Wanqiu's heart trembled as she said uneasily. Do you think the clansmen will accept them without my permission? Accept a pair of bastards with unknown fathers? Lung Shuang smiled mockingly. They are the patriarch's children. You actually said that they are bastards. Patriarch, you have to uphold justice for Wanqiu. The matriarch is too much, Lung Wanqiu said aggrievely. The patriarch's child? Lung Wanqiu, do you think everyone is a fool? In fact, Lung Amin didn't touch you at all back then. Lung Shuang said this fact very cruelly. What? Don't spout nonsense. Lung Amin and Lung Wanqiu's voices sounded at the same time. One was surprised, and the other was guilty. I'm not spouting nonsense. The child's father told me this himself. Moreover, he said a few of your characteristics, Lung Shuang explained. Madam, is what you said true? Lung Yimin's face was full of disbelief. In fact, he felt a little guilty about these two women. However, he didn't love Lung Wanqiu, so he could only compensate the child. Even though he also wanted to give Lung Wanqiu a title, Lung Shuang refused, so he didn't force her. After all, he knew that he had already hurt his wife. Yes, father-in-law knows about this too, Lung Shuang said lightly. Madam, Why didn't you tell me earlier if you knew that I didn't touch her? Why did you punish me? Lung Yimin was aggrieved. Because you're too soft-hearted. My father-in-law also said that he wanted to punish you. Otherwise, how can you bear the responsibility of being the head of the family in the future? Lung Shuang said honestly. For more than 20 years, she had been punishing Lung Yimin as well as herself. However, her husband's gentle character really needed to be tempered. I see. Madam, why did you encourage me to be close to them even though you know that those two children aren't mine? Lung Yimin was a little puzzled. Thinking about it now, this really didn't match Lung Shuang's character. Of course we have to put on a full show. Let them enjoy the treatment of the eldest miss and young master first. When it happens in the future, they will fall hard, Lung Shuang said with slight hatred. Humph. She had never been a kind person. How could she let go of someone who dared to plot against her and even let that person lead a peaceful life? Therefore, she held that pair of bastards high up. In the future, the extreme contrast would probably make them collapse. Madam, you even schemed against me. Lung Yimin smiled bitterly. However, he had no right to blame Lung Shuang because what happened back then was indeed because of him. Who asked you to like to be protective of the fair sex? Humph. My man doesn't need to care about other women. How will you remember if I don't teach you a deep lesson? Lung Shuang was ruthless to others, but she was even more ruthless to herself. Otherwise, she wouldn't have drugged her husband. Madam, I already know my mistake. Lung Yimin was very depressed. Lung Wanqiu, do you have any last words to say now? Lung Shuang ignored the pitiful Lung Yimin and turned her gaze to Lung Wanqiu. Lung Shuang, you want to kill me? No, you can't kill me. My great-grandfather won't let you go if you kill me, Lung Wanqiu threatened, thinking of her backer. Are you talking about Long Xing? Unfortunately, he can't care about you anymore. He's already dead. Lung Shuang gloated. Well, Lung Ruoxue didn't acknowledge her sister for nothing and helped her so much. No, this is impossible. Great-grandfather is powerful. How can he die? Who killed him? Lung Wanqiu's face was full of disbelief. It could also be said that she could not accept this fact. It's me, Lung Ruoxue said lightly. You. Lung Ruoxue, how dare you? The Lung family won't let you go. Lung Wanqiu laughed proudly. Ha, did Lung Ruoxue still want to live after killing her great-grandfather? This time, she could finally take revenge for her daughter. I'm sorry. I forgot to tell you that Lung Yin and Lung Feng are also dead. Moreover, I killed them, Lung Ruoxue said calmly. Lung Shuang and Lung Yimin immediately broke out in cold sweat when they heard this and felt uneasy at the same time. It was really too ruthless. The Lung family would probably be in chaos this time. However, they also knew that this matter was no longer something they could manage. No, this is impossible. Lung Wanqiu roared. She didn't dare to believe this fact because if this was true, what would happen to her? She didn't dare to imagine. Nothing is impossible in this world. The strong decide everything. They are not as strong as me and provoked me, so naturally, they will not have a good end. As for you, even if Kerr thinks of something that doesn't belong to her, she will still be taught a lesson. Lung Ruoxue said honestly. With this woman's actions, she could not obtain anyone's sympathy. A person valued self-awareness, but this woman happened to not have it. As the saying goes, a pitiful person must have something hateful, and she was definitely looking at the pitiful typical representative, making others grit their teeth in hatred. Big sister, what do you plan to do with this woman? Lung Ruoxue turned her head to Lung Shuang and asked. Well, Lung Shuang had tolerated for so many years, she shouldn't let her go. Otherwise, it wouldn't be Lung Shuang's character. Sister, do you have a good idea? Well, should I learn from sister and treat her daughter first before making her suffer a living hell? Lung Shuang asked after some thought. Big sister, you can decide this kind of thing yourself. Well, on the account that you've planned for so many years, I won't snatch her from you. However, if you want to let her go, then they're mine. Lung Ruoxue made it very clear that she wouldn't let Lung Wanqiu go. Chapter 8:15 The Sun family invites 1. Lung Shuang, you can't treat me like this. Lung Wanxiu, who was struggling on the verge of death, couldn't help shouting. This is the 1,000 poison pill. It was refined with almost 1,000 poisonous herbs. The efficacy is special. I specially prepared it for you and your daughter. This pill won't take your lives immediately, but it will torture you and make you wish you were dead, Lung Shuang explained calmly, looking at Lung Wanxiu as if she was looking at a dead person. Haha, sister, since you've already decided what will happen to them, we can leave this place too. However, you better send someone to watch over this place lest someone can't bear to let them go. Lung Ruoxue saw Lung Amin frown from the corner of her eye and revealed a trace of pity, so she reminded lightly. Yes, I won't let anyone have the chance to take advantage. In fact, it doesn't matter even if they are released. This medicine can't be cured. They will still die a month later, Lung Shuang said confidently. Then, she ignored Lung Wanxiu and her daughter, who were gradually taking effect, and pulled Lung Ruoxue out of Lung Rumai's room. In the snowfall garden, on a stone bench in the garden, Lung Shuang looked at Lung Ruoxue, sitting opposite her with a worried expression and sighed. Big sister, what's wrong? Lung Ruoxue asked with some amusement. The woman who coveted her man had already been punished, but Lung Shuang sighed. Sister, Long Xing's grandfather and granddaughter are all dead. I wonder how those ancestors will react. Lung Shuang said her worries. Alas, she got along very well with Lung Ruoxue, so she was really worried about her safety. Big sister, since we're here, let's take things as they come. Think about how quickly you'll grow old. Lung Ruoxue said nonchalantly. So what if they were so-called old ancestors? They were just mystic supremacies that had cultivated for a long time. Therefore, she wasn't afraid as long as they were still mystic supremacies. Sister, there are many Long family members and they are complicated. Therefore, even though Long Xing and the others are dead, someone might jump out for the sake of benefits, Lung Shuang analyzed. That's good. Let's settle it together. Lung Ruoxue said with a light smile. Sister. Lung Shuang was very helpless. Why wasn't this girl worried at all? Big sister, I've already handed the rest to the Grand Elder, so let's not worry, Lung Ruoxue said honestly. Really? I'm relieved. Lung Shuang nodded and felt relieved. Okay, don't worry. I think what you should do now is to look after your man lest you get schemed against by other women, Lung Ruoxue teased. Bad girl, even elder sister is teasing you. However, little sister, aren't you curious about how I punished your brother-in-law? Lung Shuang pretended to be angry and then couldn't help asking. This is a secret between you and your wife. I want to ask if you don't tell me yourself. Lung Ruoxue might be curious, but she respected other people's privacy very much. Moreover, she knew not to ask what she shouldn't ask, so she naturally wouldn't do anything to make things difficult for others. It's so good to have a sister like you, Lung Shuang said with emotion. However, she still didn't say what happened between her and Lung Amin. Well, just consider it as giving that man some face. Big sister, I have something to tell you, Lung Ruoxue said after some thought. Sister, speak frankly. Lung Shuang was a little amused. Big sister, we'll leave the Lung family later, Lung Ruoxue said. They had already discussed it, and Fengda and the others were probably almost ready. Leave in a while? Why are you in such a hurry? Does the Grand Elder know? Lung Shuang asked one question after another. Big sister, I originally wanted to leave without saying goodbye, but since you're here, they'll greet you. I didn't tell anyone else, Lung Ruoxue explained. Sister, I'm afraid it's not appropriate for you to leave now. The Sun family suffered heavy losses in this competition. They probably won't let go of this opportunity if they know that you left proud Cold City. Lung Shuang began to worry again when she heard Lung Ruoxue say that she was leaving. Long Xing's grandfather and granddaughter have all died in my hands. Is big sister still worried about me? Lung Ruoxue asked in return. In fact, she wanted to say that she didn't care about the Sun family at all. However, she felt that it was better to keep a low profile, so she didn't say it. Where is little sister going? Lung Shuang could not help but ask. I don't know. Wherever we go counts. Lung Ruoxue said. They originally wanted to go to the Dark Night Seas, but the Sun family was ultimately a big problem, so she decided to go to Sunzhou City. However, she couldn't tell Leng Shuang this. Otherwise, this worried sister of hers would probably be worried to death. Then stay away from the Sun family's territory. The Sun family might not be as strong as before, but we still can't underestimate them, Leng Shuang reminded. She knew that she couldn't stop Long Ruoxue from leaving, but she had to remind her. Okay, sister, don't worry. We won't fight the Sun family head-on, Long Ruoxue promised. She wouldn't fight the Sun family head-on. She was just giving herself to them. That's good. Leng Shuang nodded. Miss, we're ready. Suddenly, Feng Da's voice interrupted them. Yes, big sister, we're leaving. You should pretend not to know. Long Ruoxue reminded. Okay. Leng Shuang knew Long Ruoxue did it for her own good. Otherwise, if the Grand Elder knew that she didn't report the matter, he would definitely not let her go. Just like that, Leng Shuang reluctantly stood outside the snowfall garden and watched Long Ruoxue and the others leave the Long family. At this moment, the forbidden area in the Long family's back mountain was also not calm. In a room in the forbidden area, the three Long Xiaoyu brothers, the Grand Elder, and a few old ancestors of the Long family were gathered here. However, the Long family members of the old ancestors were nothing in front of the three of them. Ancestors, you have to uphold justice for Long Feng, his grandfather, and his granddaughter. An old man in his 60s said loudly. Make the decision? What decision? The three of us have long ignored the affairs of the Long family for many years. You can cultivate in peace. Don't get involved in those mundane affairs if there's nothing else. It won't be beneficial to your cultivation level, Long Xiaoxiao, Long Xiaoyu's third brother, said calmly with raised eyelids. In fact, he understood what this old man meant. He was just pretending. This was too unbelievable. Even if Long Ruoxue had the support of the Grand Elder, this shouldn't be the result. Leave. Cultivate in peace. It's been so many years. If you still can't break through, there's only death, Long Xiaoqing warned. Yes. The old ancestors left the room gloomily after being reprimanded. After they left, only the three Long Xiaoyu brothers and the Grand Elder were left in the huge room. Big brother, I'm sorry for causing you to lose so many descendants, Long Xiaoyu said lightly with a cold aura. They asked for it. They can't blame anyone else, Long Xiaoqing said nonchalantly. He wouldn't have any grudges with his younger brother for a few disappointing descendants. Moreover, those descendants were too different from him in terms of seniority, and he didn't have too deep of a relationship with them. How could he fall out with his younger brother for them? Alas, the Long family's strength couldn't be separated from Xiaoyu. He knew this better than anyone. Chapter 817. The Sun family invites 3 grandpas. If there's nothing else, they'll take my leave too. At this moment, Leng Qinya took the opportunity to say, well, the atmosphere in the room was a little oppressive now, so it was better for him to leave. Qianyi, when are you bringing the three of them over for us to meet? Leng Xiaoqing said kindly. I can't decide that. That little girl is stubborn. No one can force her unless she wants to, Leng Qinya said helplessly. Although he hadn't known little Schwerer for long, he was pretty sure of that girl's character. Therefore, he didn't dare to rashly agree to eldest granduncle's request. Otherwise, that girl would definitely turn hostile. Boo-hoo. He was really too pitiful. He actually had to look at the expressions of his descendants. There was such a cowardly ancestor in the world. At this moment, he didn't know that Long Ruoxue and the others had already left the Long family. Oh, what a nice girl. Let's see her when I have time. Leng Xiaoqing compromised. A junior that Xiaoyu took seriously was naturally worthy of his attention. Grandpas, I'll take my leave. Leng Qinya nodded and then stood up to leave the room. After exiting the forbidden area, Leng Qinya went straight to the snowfall garden. However, when he arrived, he realized that the building was already empty. Immediately, An abandoned feeling surged throughout his body. Boo-hoo. What a heartless little girl. She actually left without bidding farewell. She's too much. Long Chinya sat on a stone bench in the garden with tears in his eyes. He complained silently. He was busy cleaning up the little girl's mess, but the little girl actually sneaked away. Damn it. Long Ruoxue and the others left proud Cold City and slowly walked in the direction of Sunzhou City. However, after walking for nearly a day, they met the Sun family on the way. Long Ruoxue raised her beautiful eyes and looked at the dog blocking the way in front of her. She said with a faint smile, "Isn't this the sixth elder of the Sun family? Is there something wrong with you blocking in front of us?" Long Ruoxue, "Our Sun family invites you in," the sixth elder of the Sun family said coldly with a cold face. Humph. Long Xing was really too useless. He actually let Long Ruoxue leave the Long family. However, this saved him a lot of trouble because he was planning to go to Proud Cold City to put up a thread for Long Ruoxue and the others. He still didn't know that Long Xing had already died. Oh, then sixth elder, lead the way. Long Ruoxue nodded and said with a light smile. Hee. She was planning to go to the Sun family. The Sun family came to invite her. Well, she could say that the Sun family was very sensible. Miss Long, please follow me. The sixth elder of the Sun family was stunned, and then he said, Damn, could Long Ruoxue be a fool? This is a feast at Hongmin 1. Feast of Hongmin was a banquet set up with the aim of murdering a guest for the Sun family. She actually agreed to go with him without thinking, so how could he not be surprised? In fact, before he came to look for Long Ruoxue, he had prepared many plans, such as being polite before resorting to force, coercion, enticement, and so on. He had thought of all of them, but he didn't expect Long Ruoxue to actually agree so readily, and the plan he prepared didn't even use one move. This didn't prevent him from feeling a sense of accomplishment. Okay. Long Ruoxue nodded and summoned the little peacock, indicating for everyone to sit on it. Then they followed the sixth elder of the Sun family and flew directly to Sunzhou City. Long Ruoxue and the others arrived at Sunzhou City after flying for nearly a week. The sixth elder never stopped talking as they walked on the streets of Sunzhou City. Miss Long, our son Zhou Cheng isn't inferior to Ao Hancheng. You definitely won't regret marrying into the Sun family, the sixth elder of the Sun family said self-righteously. Sixth elder, when did I say that I'm going to marry into the Sun family? I already have a fiancé, Long Ruoxue reminded. Humph. It would be strange if she didn't regret it. Along the way, this old man had intentionally or unintentionally flaunted the Sun family to her, but she had ignored him. She didn't expect this old man to still not give up. You're from the Long family, so your marriage will naturally be decided by the Long family. How can you settle down privately? The Long family won't admit it, the sixth elder said confidently. Humph. After knowing Long Ruoxue's beauty, many people in the clan missed her. What does it have to do with me whether the Long family admits it or not? I'm not from the Long family, Long Ruoxue said for the umpteenth time. It seemed like she had to find a time to sue the world. She had nothing to do with the Long family. Otherwise, it would not be good to continue being misunderstood. Long Ruoxue, how can you not even acknowledge the ancestor sect? The Sun family's sixth elder said somewhat angrily. As a member of the vast heaven continent, he was very clear about the importance of the family. Therefore, seeing a person who viewed the family as dirt now, he was really a little unaccustomed. This is my business. It has nothing to do with the sixth elder, right? Long Ruoxue said with a light smile. How can it be okay? You're going to marry into our Sun family, the sixth elder corrected. Long Ruoxue stopped talking after hearing what the sixth elder said because she really didn't want to harp on this matter. What the Sun family thought was the Sun family's business. If the Sun family wanted to marry the young lady of the Long family, go ahead, but this person would definitely not be her. Sixth elder, let's stay in that inn. After walking for a while, Long Ruoxue suddenly pointed at a 3-story high inn. That inn had the Sun family's totem, which should belong to the Sun family. Miss Long, you are guests of the Sun family. It's not suitable for you to stay in the inn. The Sun family has already arranged a residence for you, sixth elder said. Oh, then let's go quickly. I'm tired and want to rest early, Long Ruoxue said impatiently. Rest early? Miss Long, it's not night yet? The sixth elder was a little speechless. Long Ruoxue and the others often asked to rest along the way, so they could reach Sunzhou City in less than 2 days, day and night, but they had to take almost a week to arrive. Thinking of this, he was a little depressed, but he had to agree. Otherwise, Long Ruoxue and the others would walk even slower. Who said only night can rest? I want to rest now. Who dares not to? Long Ruoxue said with slight displeasure. Then let's go quickly. The sixth elder quickened his pace after speaking. About half an hour later, he brought them to the Sun family's main residence and arranged an independent yard for Long Ruoxue and the others. Then he went to report to the patriarch himself. Boo-hoo. He was really working hard. His legs were about to break from running for the past few days. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.